Hey, how's it going? Happy Sunday. It is Sunday, October 2nd. Mercury just went direct in our time here. If you're watching on YouTube in the future, timestamps will be in the description for whatever reading is for you. So, hey people, how's that going? How is life today? Hold on, I have all these things I'm scrolling through here. Okay. Hi, Anna Banana. How's it going? Salesforce Josh, how's it going? That's your girl, good to see you. How's it going? Cyberboss, good to see you. General Human, I don't know if I remember your username, but hi. Shellbell, hey. Thank you. Hey Marina, Angie Z, hello, good to see you. Always happy to see you guys. Hi, saw your email about the membership. How exciting. Too cool to party goal. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going for an October, I keep seeing the 15th, like October 15th. So maybe it'll launch then. It's pretty much ready to go. I think I just need to clean a couple things up, even on just the logistics side. And that will be going this month. So only second time here. Good to see ya. I'm glad you're back. General Human. Going well for Salesforce. Josh, awesome. Glad to hear it. It is going well for me as well. Baby doll. Hi, baby doll. I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. I feel a little tired, but I think I'll be good. I'm good today. So, but other than that, I'm doing really well. I feel really good today, for at least for the most part. Good evening. Hope you're well. Love and light to you and yours. Hi, Keza. You must be in a different time zone, but good evening wherever you're at. It's just about to turn afternoon where I'm at, but good evening. It's your favorite time of the week? Heck yeah. Prince Priestess, hey, how's it going? Good to see ya. Man, I'm excited everyone's here. We have 111 people here. 111. How's it getting better than that? Yeah, this is, well, I don't know if I have this design on the store with the hat, but this is kind of the merch that I've been working on for the merch store, working with just some channeled symbols I have. So yeah, new merch shop coming in hot. Heck yeah. So that will be launching one soon. It is, I haven't like officially launched it, but if you go to valleyu.com, which looks like, well, hold on, let me unmirror it. If you go to valleyu.com, I do have, oh my god, it's unmirrored, so I look silly. There's merchandise available, so you can buy stuff if you guys want to. I want to make sure I have a discount code for you guys before I send you there. So give me 1 second to see what I should do about that. Okay, so I have a discount code for members that I'm gonna probably, for the membership, I'm probably gonna change that. So if anyone does go there, I'm just gonna give the discount code. That's just 10% off for anyone who does want to go there right now, and no obligation, of course. But I'm just gonna type it in. It's literally just members are cool, and then I'll just make a different one for the membership. It's just that. I just typed it in there. So, of course, no one has to go there. It's there. So, valleyu.com, members are cool, is 10% off, and it's just getting started. So, I don't have all the designs I'm going to have up there, but, and I'm still adjusting things, but you should still be able to order and stuff if you want to. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. Those are the main two. I didn't really get on here expecting to hop into announcements, but I might get into it more at the end. But the two announcements coming up are the merch store and the membership. So that'll be coming up this month. Anyways, I didn't come up here to promote. I came here to do readings. Oh, hey, Destiny. Good to see ya. Okay, so we are diving into the readings. So before never mind. So let's see what would be highest most reading next year. We're just going to delve into the collective reading. I think people are getting annoyed that I'm not doing readings, so we'll just get into it. So I hope everyone's doing well. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do I have channel messages here. I'm going to be bringing through channel messages for you, for my spirit guides, the angels and sources to go through these. And we're doing the collective reading first, and the collective reading is, of course, just for everybody here, everyone who sees it. So if you're watching it live, it's for you now. If you're watching it in the future on YouTube, it's for you when you see it. It's timeless. So, there are two themes for these readings. Well, there's kind of three, but they gave me two themes to tackle. One was how to upshift, like how can you upshift things in your life? How can you make things better? How can you maybe even level up, might be something they add in. The other is like what blessings are coming in for you. And then I also left it open to what would be for the highest good to come through for you. What do you need to hear, etc. So we kind of have multiple themes. So fully for the highest good. We have multiple themes. So the first theme for the collective here, how can everyone upshift things? And again, this is for everyone here. And some of the answers will sound a little bit maybe obvious, but the other ones maybe won't, and we'll see what else comes through. But the first thing that came through, very simple. They just said meditation and stillness. I know that sounds a little boring, but they said this will lead you to realizations and will lead you to forward movement much more quickly. And sometimes when you're taking time just to chill, all of a sudden the clarity comes and the realizations happen. You're like, oh, I know what to do next. But when you're like forcing things to happen, it's just like, it doesn't flow. It's like you might be forcing the wrong things. Like you're kind of in this like anxious worry. So for some reason, just stillness and bringing that in with some type of regularity, at least once a week, I'd say, but if not every day, is going to really help to upshift things, even if it seems like it won't or doesn't make sense. Next thing that came through here, truth. They said seeking this one might be a little bit different, but they just said seeking truth and being willing to sit with truth. So even like questioning commonly held beliefs, like from the internet and from other people around you, sitting with what is true for you, allowing truth to rise and allowing yourself to see truth is going to upshift things quickly, because changes will happen quickly as you see truth for many of you. And truth has been a theme like every reading since I started doing this. It's come through, and this is not an exception regarding this reading, honestly. But I want to see if they want to clarify it a little bit more deeply, or just give you guys something a bit more action oriented for the highest good that would help you upshift things in your life and just in general, fully for the highest good here. One thing they're just clarifying is like, if someone tells you something, and it could be about anything. I guess it could be about, for some reason, the example they're giving me is like, it's about Joe Biden. I honestly, I feel like I've said that name maybe like 3 times in all these lives. I very rarely ever really check in with politics personally. I don't feel a need to. I feel like I get the news I need just through the people around me. I don't go out of my way to watch the news or get wrapped up in that, because it's just a waste of time to me personally. But like if someone tells you something about Joe Biden or the government or how the world works or about angels, it's like, okay, let's sit with that. Is that really true? Like, is it steeped from fear and coming from like an anxious place, and maybe they heard it from somewhere else and they got all and then they just started vomiting it everywhere? Or is it, is it coming from truth, from highest line truth? Is it coming from the heart? Are people coming from a good place when they're saying it? But double checking things even that people say, whether for yourself or just in some way, might be good as well, whether it's like fact-based. And like another topic that's coming to me about this is relationships. Like a lot of dating coaches, dating gurus, people on podcasts and stuff, they'll just kind of like say things, but it's like, where did they actually get that? So it might be good to like double check something before you have this like mind-bending fact that changes your reality in a negative way, like change things for you or bring you down, if that makes sense. But if you're seeking truth and just willing to question common narratives, I think you'll be fine. Another thing, of course, I like to say is like, if you're not sure how to bring in more truth or something more amorphous or abstract like that, literally just that's when you start to manifest things as well. I guess you could always manifest things, but that's one thing you could just manifest. Like, and I know some of you have heard me say this advice a million times, but you'd be like, okay, universe, I'm asking for the truth and more truth in my life. Please bring about the truth fully for the highest good, in whatever ways would be for my highest good. Thank you so much. And then, just if you want to go further, you can say, angels, please remove anything in the way of the truth that shouldn't be in the highest good. Thanks so much. And then just like see what manifests. And like, if you're paying attention, and I know some of you don't need this advice, but for anyone newer to like manifestation or spirituality, a story I could talk about to just help clarify this for you a little bit further. One time, a few years ago, I was working at Whole Foods, and there was someone I was working with in the department who was kind of into spirituality, etc. And so we would get along really well. And so one time she was just like, oh man, I really just want like just some peace, like just some peace and quiet. She had 2 kids and it was a whole thing. And one thing I kind of instantly got was like, okay, like why don't you just like write it down? Like just write it down with the intention to manifest it like right now. And so she like opened up her notebook and just wrote it down. And then like I was getting it would happen for her in like 2 days. Like it was going to happen before the next time I saw her, because I think we each had a day off or something and we weren't going to see each other for a bit. And so the next time I saw her, I was like, hey, did that peaceful moment manifest for you? And she was like, yeah, it did. Like I was doing the dishes and then the kids were on their electronics, but I was just like, oh wow, it's really peaceful. And I think like that's one of the keys when you're working with something a bit more amorphous like truth or something like that, is like just paying attention and like watching for it to show up. Because once you do it one time or multiple times and you see the results and you see like the signs and synchronicities, you feel that moment happen, you're like, oh, that's what that's like, then you're off to the races because you know what it's like and you can start to manifest anything like that. And then you can start to practice manifesting and getting in tune with that. And then you just learn how to manifest from there, kind of like this, like the stepping stones, if that makes sense. So I don't know if I've really gone on that tirade yet before. I think I have in different ways. But for anyone newer who is like, how do I manifest truth or something like that, that's what I would recommend. And like, for instance, you might ask for more truth and then all of a sudden like your mom calls and like you're in a conversation and she just confesses something that happened when you were 3 and you're like, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you lied about that or something. It's not even a big deal probably, but then like, your friends start telling you things that they never told you before, or maybe you're the one starting to just like, maybe not vomit truth, but just like lay it all out on the table for people and be really honest. Or just like, maybe you see an article pop up and it lays out this really big truth about a topic you've been wondering about. So there's a lot of different ways it could show up, but that's just something I wanted to say. So hopefully that's helpful for someone out there. So anything else on what would help you guys upshift things for a collective? There are readings for each of the elements, of course, so we'll get more specific into what's coming through for you guys there. But that was all that came through for starters with how to upshift things for the collective, which is like stillness and like truth and like sitting with truth, manifesting it perhaps. What blessings are coming in? I know we just went on a whole tirade about manifesting truth, but the first thing that came through as far as like blessings was truth. So a lot of truth is coming in for you guys, but a lot of forward momentum as well. So the words I'm getting are truth, clarity, and forward momentum. I feel like I say those words a lot, but that's what's coming through and it always seems to pan out. Sometimes it just seems to pan out. So that's what's coming through for you guys on that one. Forward momentum is good. I feel like we've been in a time of forward momentum. It's been a message that's come through a lot. I know like Mercury just went direct today, if I'm not mistaken, like earlier this morning. So we should be out of Mercury and retrograde energy soon. But I know there might have been some things that kind of like Mercury in retrograde where it didn't move forward as quickly, but I feel like things are going to rocket forward for a lot of you. Maybe not all, maybe some of you need a break, maybe some of you need that to happen later on, like in December is something they're showing me for some reason, but for most of you, you're rocketing forward soon in some way, shape, or form. They're also showing me this message. They're showing me this visual of like planets like in orbit, but they're like colliding with each other. They're also showing me how like NASA launched like a satellite into a meteor to like alter its trajectory, that whole video that I haven't watched the whole thing of. I keep scrolling past it for some reason, but what's the message for you guys regarding this here? If there is any sort of big clash that happens like in your personal lives, even something that seems a little devastating, I hate to say it, that's the word that's coming through though, it's actually altering your course in a good way is something I'm hearing essentially. So the other thing like I'm hearing is like planets colliding seems devastating. But if there aren't any beings on those planets, like it's really not. Like it could even look really beautiful or like really cool or have some really cool effect, like if the planets merge into one or create a bunch of moons or something. So altering trajectories isn't a bad thing necessarily, but there are a lot of like collisions happening for people in a sense, and it's not like literally, well, hopefully it's not literally, it might happen. Sometimes these messages are more metaphorical, but they happen literally for some people. But there might be, or some, maybe you'll see two people walk into each other on the sidewalk as a sign about this message or something, but let me get the summary. What's the most direct, straight to the heart message on this for you guys? Hopefully that's good here. It's like there's collisions kind of coming in life that alter trajectory. For some of you, it's really peaceful and like at ease and it's like fun. For others of you, you might like freak out a little bit, but it's okay is something they're showing me. And for any of you who do feel like something like that happens, that's or has happened already, that's like just devastating or not as fun, I don't feel like it's going to be that bad in the long term. I feel like in like a month you'll be okay is something I'm hearing as well. So I'm also hearing like not all is lost. But again, for most of you, this is going to be totally fine is something I'm hearing as a clarification as well on that message, interestingly enough. So I want to see if they want to just clarify it a bit more deeply before we move on, because that's a really interesting message. There just might be a few things colliding really interestingly in your life to like move you forward in a different way. What's that going to look like in the physical? I feel like you'll understand it when you see it, if that is what I'm hearing essentially. Next message, truth is the next message here. No, upshifting. So funny enough, another blessing coming in for everybody here is upshifting. So a lot of things in life you think you are stuck with are actually going to change for the better. You might think you're stuck with a job, for example, but then a better one comes along is what came through. So as far as like what other blessings are coming in, I got a little sidetracked with that planets colliding message. Funny enough, the theme of this reading, upshifting, what will it take to upshift, is going to be happening for everyone, which kind of makes sense. One thing that I really like that I've heard, and I heard it from Lee Harris originally, I believe, is like, even just having a book with like a specific title like around you and you buy that book, or like you buy a course, for example, that has a certain title, like it can start to manifest that thing for you. So for instance, if I got a book on upshifting my finances and then I just have that around, like that's like a way of setting an intention with the universe and like manifesting that thing. So you can kind of start to move things around or totally move things around and manifest things just by that intention alone, if that makes sense, much like we were talking about with manifesting truth. So I think sometimes like interacting with a reading with a theme of like what will it take to upshift things for you can just upshift things for you, because you're giving your intention and focus on like what will it take to upshift things for me, and it just appears. It depends on who you are, maybe where you're at, but for most of you, you're going to find that true. Like 99% of you. And for those of you who are skeptical, if anyone, that's okay. I would advise you just to try it and see what happens and open your mind just enough to see if it can happen. And then you have a new tool for your life if it works. And it has for me, otherwise I wouldn't. If it's worked for me or I'm getting the channel message, I'll say it is kind of what I'll say. Like if it's what I'm getting or it's something I've worked with and it's worked for me, I'm happy to say it, but I'll just do what I'm guided to do anyways. Next message here. As far as what blessings are coming in for you guys, a gorilla spirit animal showed up. The message I heard was like feeling strong and capable, knowing you can handle what life is throwing your way, knowing you are strong enough to deal with what you are going through, and also not feeling burdened. So I like this message because sometimes when like life just seems like too much, or you're not sure if you'll be able to be able to handle something that's coming up, it's like overwhelming. But some of you might still feel overwhelmed, but capable. You'll feel like you can handle everything, which is a blessing because you won't feel buried. You won't feel like life is impossible. You'll feel like you're on your game is kind of what I'm hearing as well. So that'll be good. I also like the not feeling burdened message. I do get there is a lightening of the load going on, where just like a lot of heavy burdens are going to be lessened. Some of you might feel like you're actually picking up heavy burdens, like maybe you're trying to start a business and work a job, or trying to do multiple things at once, but it leads to a lighter load in the future than if you hadn't done it. So it's a bit of a different message for different ones of you. You'll kind of have to see where you're at with that, but that's something I'm getting as clarification on that one as well. Next message here, lightness, which is kind of exactly what I just talked about. They just said feeling lighter and more at peace, feeling less disturbed in general. The way they're phrasing it is like sometimes when you're in your bubble, and I'm not saying like in a negative way, it's more of a good way. Like if you're in your bubble and like things are good in your bubble, it's like things are good. It's like the way they're phrasing it, which is really interesting. Sometimes you getting good in yourself, in your bubble, in your sphere is going to be what solves a lot of the things around you. And trust me, the world needs people that are good and are doing well and are not burdens or bogged down or not wrapped up in what's going on in the world so much that they're going nutso over it. Like the world does need calm and collected. So if you're there, or even if you're feeling guilty about things being good, like really don't. Like it's really a blessing for you and potentially people around you if you're like good and doing well in your bubble, essentially. And they're also giving this message, a reminder, just focus on your bubble, then focus on the outside world. Once you're good, you can help people. But getting wrapped up in trying to help everyone else, it's common phrase, but it's just a reminder. If you get wrapped up in like helping everyone around you first, for some reason, I feel like it might bring everything down in a weird way for you. And like you might have to start over on something, or you might have to rebuild is something they're showing me weirdly enough. So I would just make sure you're good and then help others, and you'll be thanking yourself for that. I don't think it's going to tank everything if you're trying to help everyone else first. I just think you need to strike a balance is the other way I'm getting to clarify it for you guys here. So next message here, I think you guys will like this one, but faster manifestation is the blessing coming in for you guys as well. So much quicker and higher aligned so that you get more of what you want when you manifest. I've been getting this message like maybe like starting in the summer, maybe even in the springtime, but I'm getting it's going to be easier to manifest. I guess it came through in last week's channel, didn't it? With Creator Power Rising, they kind of channeled about it. Because I just watched that a bajillion times when I went to post it, just to edit it and get the parts and stuff for other social media platforms. But I do get it is going to be easier and quicker to manifest and more aligned. It'll be like less burdensome to manifest, because sometimes you manifest and like everything that's in the way of that thing manifesting is like in your face, so you can heal it or release it or get rid of it or whatever you need to do. I feel like it's going to be much easier. It'll be more like a hot knife through butter instead of like, is the example they're showing me, instead of trying to take a pickaxe at a rock wall, if that makes sense. There was a different visual they were showing me than pickaxe at a rock wall at first, but it was very difficult to describe. It was like a dull knife through like leather or something. I don't know. I don't even know if leather is difficult to cut, so don't quote me on that. But and they showed me a dragon with that one for anyone that matters for. So anything else coming in as a blessing for everybody here? Yes, is what I'm hearing, but not that necessarily needs to come through for this reading. So we're going to move on to just what would be for the highest good to come through for everybody. So the first thing that was just like, what else do you guys need to hear, was things are, and I kind of covered this in like every single section of this, things are upshifting. You may feel stuck, but you are not stuck. Things are going to improve. So I think some people are just still feeling the Mercury in retrograde, like slumber or like the lows. Some of you hopefully had a really great Mercury in retrograde. Mine was good. I can't think of anything like terrible that happened. I think there were a few like Mercury in retrograde-ish moments, but it wasn't like catastrophic or anything. But that is kind of going away. And I think like sometimes people get stuck like thinking things are going to be the same like forever. Like you get in a job for like 5 years and you're like, I'm going to be here the rest of my life. But then like things change like all of a sudden on a dime and you're somewhere else or something happens. I'm kind of getting that energy I mean, I know I'm just, never mind. They didn't want me to say what I was about to say, but I'm kind of getting that energy where it's like, you think things are going to be the same, but they won't. And I've been getting this, like, I think kind of consistently the past couple of weeks, this message of like things you think are going to be like a permanent fixture in your life are like certain things like that are going to be leaving, or maybe even in the world. Maybe not even just for like you per se, but there are certain things you might think are permanent that aren't. And it's like, it's time for change. And one of the main themes for October I was getting was change and transition. I know that seems to come up pretty frequently, but it was very hammered in when I was checking in on October, like change and transition, as well as the other thing my guides called it was like a boom month. So they didn't like go into super hardcore detail about, and for anyone watching in the future on YouTube, I'm getting these energies will still apply, even though this is more about October. But I'm getting October as a boom month where it's just like revelations is something I'm getting with that. Blow ups is something I'm getting. It could be like a positive blow up, like a business blowing up. It could also be like an interpersonal blow up or someone emotionally blowing up. But it leads to healing, or it could lead to something good or something to celebrate. So there are just a lot of booms happening this month in like every area, but it's going to be different for each of you, is something I'm getting as well. That did come through on the newsletter as well, which is that you can just sign up for that on my website. I just do channel messages in the month ahead for every month and no obligation. It's just, I was referencing it, so I thought I'd mention it. Next message here for everybody here. So our good friends, and this is a much different message than usual when this one shows up, but Giraffe showed up. Giraffe just always shows up, I guess. And I'm curious I wonder if they're doing it just to get me comfortable with like, because I would get self-conscious like with getting the same like animal for like all these different readings. And sometimes I wonder if they're just trying to get me comfortable with just trusting, even if it's really similar across, a similar object before a message or animal. But the message here is, if you feel like people have been stealing your leaves. So the visual I was getting with this is they showed a giraffe, and this giraffe was trying to get these leaves in this tree, but all these other giraffes and bigger giraffes and corporate giraffes, I don't know, they're adding corporate in as I'm doing this now, were like just took all the leaves and like stripped all this tree, and there was like 2 or 3 leaves that this giraffe was able to get, the giraffe representing you, or that was for you, and you're like, no fair. But what they were showing me was like, instead of this tree where like all your leaves were stolen from you, it's kind of like in this visual, this giraffe turns, or somehow it transitioned into this like cornucopia of leaves was the phrase I was hearing. And the thing about cornucopia is, for a giraffe, a cornucopia of leaves is probably not a vast amount of leaves. So I didn't like that terminology, because really the visual they were showing me was like this big vast expanse of like light, and it was like God's hands were reaching down from the heavens, and there was this vast expanse of light and like all this like huge abundance of leaves essentially. But it was more metaphorical, of course. I don't think a lot of you eat safari leaves or anything like that, so clearly a metaphorical. But if I were to read this message to you, it just said, if you feel like people have been stealing your leaves, like a giraffe might say if other giraffes stole its leaves, you're going to find a lot more treasure just for you, like a vast abundance or cornucopia of leaves, or even greater and higher treasure. So like, they showed me this vast expanse of light and treasure from like source. So if you feel like things have been stolen from you, or you were supposed to get something and you didn't, but maybe this other person did, and you're like, that's not fair, like I worked really hard for this, or something like that. One thing I'm hearing is, well, you don't know if it's fair. You don't necessarily know the work that other person put in. you don't know what their life has been like, etc. But the other thing is, it doesn't mean that vast treasure that you wanted is not for you. There's either something better or you're just getting more than you bargained for, and soon, as far as like some type of treasure or abundance, or maybe even a manifestation in your life, where you feel like something was robbed of you, or you didn't get what was fair for you, if that makes sense. And I'm getting this message like the universe always plays fair. It doesn't always seem like it in life, the way the world has worked. You're going to start to see fairness be a theme in general, where things correct a bit more so they are fair, is something I'm hearing, just what I'm hearing. And what else on that? You're also just going to see people fighting for fairness more effectively, if that makes sense. I'm also hearing like voices will be heard. So I know this is a bit broader than maybe just you. This might be more like a world message as well. But I do feel like fairness is going to start to rise more. And like, I know it's Libra season, which is popping into my head as I'm going through this, but the scales will be balanced is kind of what I'm hearing as well, interestingly enough. But I don't know. I'm just hearing a lot of abundance on the way, so I'm just going to say it. Especially where you felt robbed. Next message here, there is more with that, so give me 1 second here. And some of you feel like you don't deserve good things, but you do, is something I'm hearing. So if you don't feel like you deserve good things, you actually do. Next message here, they showed me a ghost. They said, don't walk away from what you are building. Keep moving towards it. Keep putting work in. You are close to a milestone. So if you're trying to build something in your life, whether it's I want to be careful with this, but if you're trying to build like a business or a career, or there's something you've been working a lot towards, like a dream, I'm just getting not to walk away from it right now. Like to keep moving towards it, keep putting work in. Again, you're close to milestones. I was going to say a relationship as well. I do feel like that applies for some of you that are really focused on that. At the same time, just don't stay stuck in something that's not good for you if you're someone who's in a situation that's not good for you. And like if they're abusive, I'm not saying stay in an abusive relationship is what I'm trying to clarify. Next message. They just showed me a dog. They said, stay loyal to you. Look after yourself and your dreams. Do not abandon yourself for others. For example, don't give up on your dreams because of a relationship, friendship, or romantic, or because of your parents, etc. So I'm getting this message just to be loyal to yourself and your life first. And part of being loyal to yourself is carrying out your mission. So for example, what does that mean with carrying out your mission? So if you have a mission to help people and to facilitate healing for the world, or whatever you feel like you're here to do, whatever you're here to create to help the world, part of being loyal to you is doing those things. So you might think being loyal to you is like, screw the world, I'm doing my thing. It's not actually, if starting to make more sense for you guys as a message. So when I'm saying be loyal to you, I'm not saying like screw everyone else. What I'm saying is like, don't let those big missions that might very well have to do with helping the world be put to the side for someone else in your life because you feel bad, or like they don't have as much as you, And again, you might not realize the full story of why that is, or why you have this thing and someone else doesn't. And maybe you focusing and being loyal for yourself will allow you to help that person down the line, etc. But I would just not stay stuck for others is something I'm hearing as well. And be loyal to you and yourself instead of being pulled around by other people. It's not selfish are the words they're showing me, if you need to hear that. But that's it for the collective reading. I know that was kind of like a woo, all over the place kind of thing. So hopefully that was good for you. It made sense. This is going to make me cry because I needed so much of this. Well, I appreciate the confirmation from me, and you know what? I just for you really quickly, I do get you have good things coming. That's Gretum 12200 is something I'm hearing. So hang in there. I know it can take work to build what you want or to make changes, but I feel like if you keep moving forward, things are going to get good. It's something I'm hearing specifically for you. So I hope that was good for everybody. Star Princess. It just wasn't your time for this one, but it'll be up on YouTube, unless barring some glitch from TikTok's end, because sometimes I don't have the ability to download these afterwards because of TikTok. So thanks, Destiny. Also, A big shout out to the moderators, Destiny, and sometimes I see, Rock and Robin pop in, and if I missed any of you, I'm sorry, because I know I don't look at the screen as much sometimes doing these, but just they really help chat run smoothly, and also just people who are here regularly, you guys help out as well. So I just want to give a shout out to you guys and a thank you, and feel free to just send some love to the moderators, to all you guys who help me out in the chat, even if you're not an official moderator as well, because I see you guys, so thank you guys. Okay, I'm gonna drink some coffee. All right, so we are actually going to the fire signs next. So if you have a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, of course it's for you now. You have my mug of water. Yes, I have a mug of water today. Ooh, I have a mug of water and a cup of coffee. And I feel like that's usually it's not usually that way, it's the other way. But, okay, so we're diving right in. So fire sign, sun, moon, rising. If you have a fire sign, it's for you when you see it. Of course, if you're here live, it's for you now. If you're on YouTube, it's for you when you're seeing it on YouTube. I made a cappuccino, ooh, enjoy. So, we have 3 themes. How can you upshift things for you? What blessings are coming in, and what else do you need to hear? That would be for the highest good for you to hear, or for the highest good to come through for you right now. So first section, how can you upshift things for you? I do have channel messages here, and my spirit guides, the angels, and source will bring through any additional information for your highest good as I go through these. Work hard. I know that sounds boring, but bear with me. But the message for the fire signs is work hard and don't back down. If you are hitting things hard as far and like tackling things, and really putting effort towards what you need to do, and more than you think, so you might need to put in more effort than you think, things get easy, but you have to work hard. So the first message for the fire signs on how you can upshift things is I would be putting extra effort into things you need to do. I'd be working like maybe even harder than you think you have to. And you might think that that's a lot, but I actually get for most of you, you're going to have the stamina for it, or maybe even all of you, depending on where you're at, barring any major health issues or anything like that. I'm just getting this message, like if you put work in, okay, I already said the message. I don't need to I don't need to say it twice, but what else would be high? So much for you to know about that one. I'm working hard, putting more effort in. So I'm getting a clarification. A lot of you know what you need to do. A lot of you know what's next. It's just putting it in the effort. And if you're willing to tackle things hard and not back down, and do your best to take the next step even when you feel overwhelmed, it's just things get easier as you're putting that hard work in, if that makes sense. And it might be sustained effort, like over the next month or two, like if you have to get used to putting hard work in or something like that. I'm just hearing once you put more hard work in, things will get easier for you. So that's the first message. The next thing for you is be at peace. So how can you do that? Find time for yourself to create peace for yourself, even if it's 10 minutes a day. Set an intention for peace, kind of like we talked about manifesting truth earlier. Like ask the universe for peace or what it will take for peace to show up. Build a crystal grid for peace. Do something that brings you peace. It will help you glide through challenges more easily. Things do not have to be difficult. So I think one thing that's kind of popping in, I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing for you guys though here. I don't know how many of you really need to hear this, but hard work does not mean make things difficult is something I want to say. I'm a big fan of work smarter, not harder. It's not the message that came through for you, but I think I might go on a brief tangent here if it's for the highest good. Is it for the highest good? I'll do it really briefly. There's a lot of just self-help or success, motivation speakers or gurus. And it's this weird theme of things have to be difficult for you to succeed. The only people who are super successful have gone through hell, go through hell. And I'm a little bit torn on it because on one hand, I think it's good to have the fortitude and the strength to get through challenges, to get to success. On the other hand, I think things can be easy. I think we don't have to make things more difficult than they already are, and we don't have to make life difficult. And I'm partially borrowing this from Access Consciousness a little bit, which is a modality that some of you might resonate with more than others, but one thing they talk about is like, what if life can be easy? Like, a lot of people think life can't be easy, but what if the possibility is there for life to be easy? And one of the mantras for that modality is, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. So I know I'm going on a brief tangent here, but what I'd also say on that with like the hard work and like the be at peace is like, hard work doesn't mean make things difficult. It just means maximum effort. They're playing the Deadpool phrase, maximum effort or whatever, which I haven't seen those movies in years, but I haven't even seen the second one. But that's just a clarification in case you need to hear that. So hopefully that makes sense. Anything else on that I need to say? We're going to move on to the next theme. But I would just make sure you're taking time to find peace for yourself. Next message here, pray for guidance at every turn, such as, but not limited to, big choices you need to make, help with things in your life that are mundane, help with whatever's going on with you. Praying is going to be strangely effective for you. So sometimes you are really potent. This is what I'm hearing, and you don't realize it. But if you were to simply pray or set intentions or work with things a little bit more metaphysically with intention and that potency, things would shift really easily for you. And maybe not all of you are there, but at least some of you are there. So, and I'm going to talk about something a little bit interesting too in a second that I've noticed. The recommendation for you is like, if you're stuck on a choice, pray for guidance, pray for it to work out in the highest and best ways or automatically go in the best directions, pray for the universe to intervene. If you are struggling with a coworker or something, ask for the universe to intervene and change things for the highest good. If you're having an issue, like, ask for it. And if there's a reason you're going through something and you have to go through it to learn something or because it's preparing you for the future, the universe will be like, no, it's not time to rectify that yet. You need to learn this thing first. If you don't need to go through it, the universe will just change it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, if you are someone who hasn't tried this yet, or if you haven't noticed this before, I don't know if it holds true all the time, but one thing I've noticed is if I get guidance from like a reading from someone who's channeling a message, even if it doesn't make a lot of cognitive sense, like for instance, someone's like, if you do this, then like it's gonna help with X, Y, Z. And you're like, I don't even see how that's related. But there's something about like the extra charge or like oomph behind like a channeled message that gives you a solution, and you doing that thing that's supposed to bring that solution that seems to manifest it with just like a little bit of extra something. I don't know how to describe it, or it's just like you get this extra, like for instance, they don't want me to get into it too far, so what would be for the highest good for me to say? Pretty much what I'm getting to say is like, even if you get like a message, whether it's for me or another good reader that you listen to, and it's this recommendation to try something as a solution or to bring about a change, and you're like, I don't see how that makes sense. If it resonates for you and it feels right and light and you're not being guided to not do it, I would try it and just see what happens, and just see how it shifts things, if that makes sense. Because sometimes the universe is like giving you a key you don't realize it's giving you metaphysically to change things, even if it doesn't make sense in an unorthodox way, or sometimes orthodox, but I don't like that word. Sometimes normal, but I don't know. I would just try praying about everything and asking the universe for help. And it doesn't have to look like a Christian prayer if you're a recovering Catholic, as the phrase I've heard, or you're trying to run away from religion as fast as you can. It can be like, spirit guides, please help me out with this. Universe, please shift this for me. It can just be an ask, or something like that. So hope that makes sense. I feel like I went in like to 20 billion stories. So anything else that would be for the highest good for me to say on that, on how you can upshift things? I do get things like will upshift for you guys. What else do you need to hear on that? I would be a little bit patient. That came through specifically for like one of the other signs was like, what will it take to upshift things? Like, was patience. I don't think that's for you. I think like I would be patient as things upshift is more what I'm getting for you. They're also showing me like a domino effect for you guys. Sometimes all you need to do to get the momentum going in the right direction is change things just enough, if that makes sense, or push the needle just enough, or get enough of a knock on the domino to tip the first smallest one over, if that makes sense. So if you're not sure how to upshift things after this reading and you want to, just try something to try and move the needle to upshift things for you in your life. So the next, anything else on that before we move on here? I also feel like as an added message, I feel like you're protected from messing things up. They're showing you in like this metal suit of like armor, but it's more like a jacket. It's weird. And they're just kind of showing you as the message I'm getting is you're protected from messing things up when it comes to changing your life, when it comes to changing things for you right now. It's kind of like you have this extra layer of protection regarding changes you're trying to make. So I would go hog wild trying to change things right now if you want to, but even though I'm saying that, I would still use your discernment and not, the best way I'll say it is like, do your best not to be dumb about things and like do something that's obviously a bad idea. Like I wouldn't do that, but if you want to make changes, I would try doing it. Okay, what blessings are coming in for the fire sign, sun, moon, and rising? Ease. We just had a whole thing about ease. That's perfect. Because I did this ahead of time and I did not count on telling that story. So you're going to see an upshift in your ease. Things are going to be easier for you. So the message I was also getting was like feeling like you can breathe. So if you've been feeling constricted or like you're in some situation where you feel like you can't breathe, I feel like you're gonna be able to breathe again, which is good. And like soon, next month at like the latest is what I'm hearing. So things are going to start to shift and get easier for you, which is good. Fun is the next message. A lot more fun coming in. So you're going to be feeling a lot better about yourself, whether it's a fun event that happens or, they kind of snuck a message in there. You're going to be feeling a lot better about yourself, but about the fun message, it's like whether it's events or gradually you feel like you're having more fun in your life. Something's happening where you're opening to joy and fun a bit more. And also hearing the word relax, and they're reminding me of like the peace message. And they want me to reiterate the message, like do your best to try to find peace, whether it's with meditating, whether it's with doing something for yourself for a brief amount of time each day that's peaceful, winding down at night before bed for 10 minutes with something intentionally peaceful, just something. Again, it's going to help upshift things, but you're also going to be having more fun in your life soon, which is good. Another blessing, they gave me the word space, which kind of ties in with feeling like you can breathe. They just said you are going to feel like you have space for yourself and what you love. And like, sometimes our schedule gets crowded. Sometimes we just don't feel like we have the room to enjoy something, maybe emotionally or mentally. I feel like you're going to have space for things. Even if you're busy, I feel like you're going to have space for things, which is good. And space for you. Sometimes we get crowded by others' ideas. We get crowded by what we think we should do, what our parents say, what people want from us, and we kind of forget us. But I'm hearing the words like, no more of that. So you're going to be remembering you and or just feeling like there's space to kind of fill out. I'm hearing weird words. I don't know. I'm just going to say what I'm hearing. Fill out your aura or fill out your life with you instead of others' desires, or just be more yourself, if that makes sense, which is good. And the last thing was, I do feel like peace is going to be manifesting for you. That is a blessing that's coming in. So whether it's because you started taking action or it just comes in, life is going to make you guys feel more at peace. The thing that really jumped out at me at that message when I was channeling it through was the word like, and just the feeling, the energy behind it when I was getting the message of life is going to make you feel more peace. It felt a little bit forceful almost, interestingly enough. So you might be like forced into peace. I don't feel like it's against your will. I don't think it's bad. I just feel like sometimes the universe needs us to be in a certain place, whether it's for things to manifest or something to happen, and by golly, it'll find a way. So just keep that in mind. So as far as the next section, anything else as far as blessings coming in for you guys? I am getting a message about an upshift in career as well. It's a little bit more specific than some of the broader themes that came through ahead of time. A lot of you are headed towards that. This is a bit of a broader time frame. They're saying in the next year or so. It could be a lot sooner just because this message is coming through now. I feel like I'm getting this message, some of you are worried about an upshift in career, or worried about making enough even. I'm hearing you're going to, so that's another blessing coming in, is a relief regarding finances, or a move regarding finances that really pays is something I'm getting, which is good. Next section of the reading is what do you need to hear? What would be for the highest good to come through for you? So for the fire signs is where we're at, in case anyone was wondering. Let me find my place here with the messages. Okay, so one of the messages that came through for you just in general for fire signs, sun, moon, and rising, is keep moving forward. Even if you feel like you have a lot ahead of you, you are moving on a path that is worth it. So you are on a path that's worthwhile, even if you feel like there's a lot coming in. And they're showing me the heavy burdens thing again here. Even if you feel burdens, it's like as you move forward, the load gets lighter, or like you figure out how to make it lighter. They're kind of showing me the concept of technology and how technology gets refined and improved over time, where it's like maybe you have, and it's kind of like an efficiency thing. Like maybe you're trying to carry, what's the best way to say this? It's like you get better at carrying burdens, or you get like more refined in the process. And this is metaphorical, so this could make a lot of sense if you look at it in certain ways, and the way it'll play out, of course. But it's like then you get to like the 2.0 version, and all of a sudden like carrying your, carrying your burdens all of a sudden gets like 2 times easier. And all of a sudden it's like you can carry the same amount, but it's more refined, it's easier, you know how to handle it. And then you refine some part of the process, and maybe your legs get stronger, and it's like, 4 times easier. And then it feels like you're carrying a feather after a year or something. It's kind of what they're showing me. So I would keep going even if you feel burdened, as another message coming through for the fire sign specifically. Hope that makes sense. Next message here, things are looking up. Don't get mired in the negative. Things are actually going to be looking up for you in very big ways. So sometimes it's very tempting to look at like the one bad thing that goes wrong and think life is going to crap. My French fries were burned, but it's the emotion of that in the moment isn't necessarily like the truth of the reality of the situation or your life. If that makes sense. So, and like, sometimes when things like that even happen on a completely different note, like your French fries get burned, maybe your body just really didn't want French fries and it would have made you sick, or maybe you're being protected in some way when things like that happen or go wrong, by the way. So just keep that in mind too. That's popping in while I was on that topic. So I'll talk about that as well. But just a reminder to kind of keep your chin up. It's like things aren't as bad as they seem for you. I feel like this is maybe in the world too, but for you personally in your life is something I'd say. I feel like things are going to be looking up in really good ways. Next message, truth is coming. Is there more in that last message? So another thing coming through, interesting enough, is owl. Now that I look at my messages, it's like if I skip a message, owl spirit animal is the next message. And there's 2 messages kind of coming through. One, you're divinely protected. Owl spirit animal can be about taking care of things you don't see, or things like you're not picking up on. It's like the universe has you covered, essentially. Because, owl spirit animal typically has to do with like sight, seeing clearly in the darkness, seeing everything because it has good vision and night vision and stuff, etc. It's also like a hunter of the night. So if you're worried about like darkness or things being dark in your life, I feel like you're taken care of, actually. And I feel like periods of darkness are going to rescind pretty easily. And like owl spirit animal is a good one to ask for help with or pray to help lift that. And another message is like you're working with spirit when you're working with like spirit animals. It's like another way to work with source. And yes, you're working with that being, you're working with that energy. But you're also asking source for help when you're asking a spirit animal for help, is a quick message. So I don't know if it's always the best idea to get too mired in like what's the particular being I'm working with. I think sometimes it's helpful, and it really depends on where you're coming from, where you're at on your journey, on your path, etc. But it's just like a random. I'm kind of tied up on that message because I feel guided to say it, but I don't feel like it's the right message for all of you at the same time. Totally. And I guess the way they're clarifying is like it's half and half. Half of it is like the being, half of it is like you're asking source for help, like in a sense through that being, or asking spirit for help through that being. So for some reason they're just saying try not to get too tied up in that right now. I don't know why. The other message with owl spirit animal that came through ahead of time, I think I kind of already stated it. And they want me to read it, and they'll probably have another one. They said, even if darkness comes your way, see through it and know that it is temporary. You are being granted sight and passage with ease regarding any darkness that comes your way. So that kind of links back to the burdens message as well. Like they just, you're going to have an easier time moving through things that maybe were difficult for you to move through in the past. The other message with owl spirit animal, I'm just kind of getting you're going to be seeing like people and like situations really clearly. Like before, maybe you'd get stuck or mired in a situation because you didn't see the people or situation, or whether it's a job situation or something, like totally clearly before. But you're going to be seeing things ahead of time and like avoiding the roadblocks and the wrong situations. And you're being protected from the wrong situations, which is good. Okay, so again, truth has just been a theme for like every live, so I'm just going to keep saying it until they stop saying it, but they just said truth is coming. You are going to be mired in truth, which is a weird way to say that. They said it is going to be very difficult to not see truth. I guess I kind of just said this, but take this as a blessing, not as a burden, because it will help you make the right moves for you. So more clarification on that. One of the last things that showed up for you ahead of time was alligator. They said, be ferocious in doing what you need to do. Tackle things head on. Don't hold back. There was also a weird message like stomp your to-do list, but it didn't mean get rid of it. It was like go through tasks fiercely. Like if you need to get things done, or if you have needs you need to get accomplished, needs you need to accomplish, doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying though. Just like tackle it fiercely. And they also said like stomp your self-healing. So really dig into your self-healing. Know you are headed to somewhere greater. So kind of a lot of messages in that one message, but I would be tackling things ferociously. I would realize you're headed somewhere greater as well as you do so. They're also saying like this period of time is temporary. Like if there are a lot of burdens, like if you feel like there's a lot to do for some of you, if you feel like there's a lot going on, it's not going to be forever. And right now you're transmuting your old life. There's been a lot that's been going on in the past that you don't realize you're changing, that you don't realize is going away. You feel like you're going to be stuck with the burdens of the past and what comes in the future. But as you're transmuting your past and your life, you're transitioning to a brighter future. And a lot of the burdens of the past are not going to be a thing like in a year. And yeah, they just said 12 months. That's a year. So in about a year, so or more. So try not to get stuck in thinking things will be like the past. They're not. This is your confirmation that will be the case. Some of you are afraid of going back to the past, or the past replaying itself or revisiting it. Don't be, is what I'm hearing. You're a different person. You would make different choices if the same situations rose up, all of you. So, and you're strong and stronger. You're not going to be, the weirds I'm hearing are weird. I'm hearing like you're not going to be the weak person you used to be, is something I'm hearing regarding people, situations, choices you used to make. For some of you, this has to do with like drugs even, or like staying off of drugs or something along those lines. They're showing me that concept. I don't know why I want to say this. I don't do drugs personally. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with certain ones of those. But I don't even smoke any type of marijuana or anything like that. I don't feel the need to. I feel like I do a lot better without anything like that. And I just haven't liked any of the times I've tried anything like that. So, it just doesn't help me. So I don't know why I'm telling you. Maybe someone was curious. Next message, alien. You might feel out of place, but you're right where you need to be. Again, so maybe you're around people you don't normally vibe with, or in a work setting that I'm hearing something like doesn't make sense to you, or it's like not your norm. One word they're giving me is patience and relax. Like things are transmuting around you to be more to your tastes is one thing I'm hearing. You're also transforming people around you through things you're saying, through words potentially. So people might, I'm not saying to like change people to your liking, but you might find naturally through your impact, people are transforming into people you want to be around more, or you'll just find your crowd by scaring some of those people away by you being yourself, if that makes sense. But even if you feel out of place, you're exactly where you need to be is the message. And maybe I shouldn't try to clarify that too much because I think it's pretty straightforward. So we're going to move on to the Earth sign, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I hope that was helpful for everyone who saw that. Hey, Rock and Robin. How's it going? Okay. I need 1 second to drink water. But thank you, fire signs. That is it for you guys. Yes, it was perfect. You're welcome. Oh, hey, Kylie. Good to see you. It's been so long. I hope you're doing great. We're moving to the Earth sign, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'm going to take like a quick second just to drink coffee and maybe... You are so welcome. What element is Taurus? That is Earth signs, which are next, actually. You have a beautiful week too, Star Princess. You are welcome. And you take care and go rock the world. Caffeinate. Yeah. Taurus time. All right. All right, so fully for the highest good. One second here. Okay, yeah. So if you have an Earth sign, Sun, Moon, or Rising, it's for you when you see it. It's funny, just came from your TikTok and I'm an Earth sign. Divine timing. How's it get any better than that? Thanks, Nerdy Unicorn. That means a lot. So, fully for the highest good, how can you upshift things? There's 3 themes. How can you upshift things? What blessings are coming in? And just what else do you need to hear? What's for the highest good to come through for you? From Source, from the angels, from spirit guides, all of the true highest light for the highest good, of course. But how can you upshift things? The first thing I was getting for Earth signs, pretty simple. Press forward, keep moving forward, and things will upshift. It's kind of like things are automatically going to upshift, but I don't know if that's 100% the truth. I think it's like you need to keep pressing forward and things will upshift. They're showing me the Hermit, like for some reason, like walking up a give me one second here. Okay. He's like walking up this like hill or this slope or this rocky terrain, this like hermit kind of looking dude. And he's looking around and he's like looking for something, but it's kind of like, this is kind of a side message coming through right now. It's kind of like when, you are looking for your sunglasses, but they're like in your hand or something, or like on your head. It's like, he's looking for something, but he already has it like in his knapsack. And he's like going on this long journey for something he already has. So why am I going into this? Why is this message coming through for you right now? What would be highest message we bring through for you about this here? Don't feel like you need to look for something extraneous or extra or huge in order to move forward right now, whether it's about a business or even a relationship. Just move forward is kind of what I'm getting. Because you might find you already have what you need, or you might think you need, for example, like, I don't know, you might think you need like an iPad to do art, to do something for your business, but maybe you can do it on Canva is something I'm getting as an example. Or, I don't know, I think you kind of get the gist of what I'm getting at, but I feel like if you move forward, it's like everything falls into place. But if you're looking for like more things to fall into place before you move forward, it's like nothing does. So, it's not like anything bad happens if you do go on this like long journey. I shouldn't put it in quotation marks because those are the words. It's not like anything bad happens if you do go on that long journey is something I'm hearing for you as well. It's just like you'll just have to kind of come back to where you are and move forward is kind of what I'm getting. So really interesting message. And I want to clarify that. They want me to clarify it more. So what would be the highest way for me to clarify that fully if that's good for you so it makes the most sense here? If I were to just, the summary I'm hearing is you already have what you need, move forward. So I don't need to complicate it. Next, I feel like there's more on that though. I don't feel like I'm done with it yet. They're showing this concept of companionship. One message I'm getting for you is like, you're not alone. Of course, you have like your spirit guides, you have your angels, you've got the whole universe, you've got Source, which is everything, everywhere, all of the time. They want me to give this example as well for whatever reason, for those of you who want to or need to hear it, or it'll be helpful. But there's, again, I'm borrowing from Access Consciousness, or they want me to say this, not necessarily, but one of the things they'll talk about is like, once you realize that every molecule in the universe is your friend, it's like you get a lot less lonely or something like that. Because they talk about, they have some really interesting things they say about consciousness and like, consciousness, and everything is consciousness or has a consciousness. I'm tripping over my words, but hopefully it makes sense what I'm saying. But beyond that, I do feel like you have companions coming. They're showing me like the Lord of the Ring, like the Fellowship of the Ring. Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, excuse me, where they have like this people, the companions that just like show up just to kind of help out with the journey. So in some way, shape, or form, you're going to be getting someone along your journey to help you, whether it's a spirit guide, it's for the highest good, it's etheric, or it's like a friend, or it could be romantic as well, depending on who you are and what's going on. But I feel like you do have people coming specifically to like help you on your journey, and you're not alone. The things you want to succeed, other people will help you make succeed is something I'm getting. So I'm also hearing don't go it alone if you don't have to. Seek help if you need it. So this is also a message for anyone who needs help to just seek that extra help, essentially, is something I'm getting as well. It's just a good time for that. Okay, so I know that wasn't necessarily like how can you upshift things, it just kind of jumped in, but I'm just rolling with the messages. Next message here, how can you upshift things? You are headed towards abundance, keep making moves and make moves towards things that you think you want. Whether you get there or not, you will be improving your life, perhaps without realizing it, and you will get there, most of you. It's a matter of time. So again, you're headed towards abundance. What can you do to upshift things? Keep making moves and clarify, move towards things that you want. Whether you think you can get there or not, I feel like you will. I'm getting the words you will, at least most of you, like 98% of you. And the others of you that don't get what you want, you'll get something better, But sometimes just making the moves to, again, improve your life is all you need, because you're moving the energies in that direction. Like you're doing more than taking action. You're moving energies in the direction of your life improving. Like you're manifesting in a sense. And I know it's a little bit meta, because it's like, yes, you're manifesting through the action you're taking, but you're also, I'm sorry, I'm saying the words moving energy, and I need to find a better way to explain it, so I'm not just saying the same thing 3 times. But you're creating momentum, you're reaching out to the universe for help when you take an action in a weird way, if that makes sense, if that helps to explain it a little bit better. So you're doing more than just taking an action when you take an action. I don't like the phrase showing the universe you're serious, because I think the universe already knows whether you're serious or not, but I think it gets what I'm trying to say across, where it's like, you're showing the universe you're serious, you're moving more energy, you're not just sitting on the couch eating potato chips and wishing for a hot husband and $1 million, which nothing wrong with that either. And you know what? I'm not going to limit you and say it can't show up if you sit on the couch and eat potato chips and manifest it. But just making moves towards what you want is going to upshift things for you, is the way that I'll say it. Even if you're not sure how to make it happen, or you're not sure what to do next after that, just make moves towards what you want. Next message here. They showed me like chess pieces moving around, and it was about strategizing your time. They said if you are making the most of your time, you are going to be seeing a sharp rise in your life. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so I would just do your best to not waste time. Try not to scroll on TikTok endlessly. I'm guilty sometimes of doing that, because, well, for me, I'll go to post something, and then, it takes a while to post, and then you kind of have to leave the app open for the video to post, and then you start scrolling, and then you just get lost in the scroll. But I need to figure out a better way to do that. My story aside on that, I would be like scheduling your time. This is for the earth signs. I would be like trying to plan your day out. I would be like trying to do it. I would be using a scheduler or like something. And I feel like you're just going to see a rise in productivity and just like you taking action. And sometimes when you see it all out in front of you and you have clarity, it's easier to take action because you know how it all works and fits together. And when it's all amorphous and kind of around you, you're just like, I know my next steps, but I also want to do this over here. And I'm feeling overwhelmed because this is kind of nagging at my attention. And, now my partner wants attention, and now my cat's meowing at me. So, and now my dog's barking outside at the mailman. And so, but once you have that scheduled time, you're like, okay, I can tackle this, and I can do this, and I can make time here because my partner wants to spend time with me, and then I can do this, and we're good. So I know I'm being, hopefully I'm I don't know. I'm just going to leave that on the table for you. Hope that makes sense and helps you on that one. There were just kind of just giving a message just to do things to elevate, whether it's meditating. I know that came through for the collective as well, but meditate. If you channel for yourself. Do self-healing with energy work. If you need to book a session or a massage or something to help you relax and to elevate, do so. I'm also hearing something about energy clearing as well. It's just a good time to keep yourself clear and fresh is something I'm hearing energetically. Of course, do your best not to take people's stuff on if you need that reminder. I don't know why, but that's just what I'm hearing as well. But if you're doing just things to elevate spiritually, that's going to help as well. And then again, getting into a routine that works for you, you will see things improve is something I'm hearing for you guys as well. They gave me the word schedule and they're talking about getting into a routine. So I would try to find like a new routine or adjust things or enhance your routine to, one, make space for all you need to do, but two, just to like leave space for things you enjoy as well. I feel like if you get into a good routine, I think things are going to flow a bit more and you'll feel happier and less burdened by like trying to figure out what to do each day. If that's you, some of you might already be in a routine, but I feel like it'd be good to change it is something I'm getting as well. So anything else that would help you guys upshift your life right now or just in general here? They're showing me blue crystals, celestite. They did show me lapis dumortierite is another one. I feel like just helping your throat chakra would help right now for whatever reason, or blue crystals. Also like grounding or some type of object on you that's grounding, like black tourmaline or something like that is going to help you out. Because some of you do need to get grounded, something I'm hearing as well. So, but that's it. We're going to move to, there's one more thing. They're showing me a paper crane. And that imagery has come through like once before for a reading, but what's the message for paper crane for you guys here? The message I'm getting for you guys is like when things unfold, because they're showing this paper crane unfolding, they're saying like, try not to put the cat back in the bag and like put the paper crane back to the way it was. Let it unfold and then become something new. I know this is an interesting metaphor, but if something unravels or unfolds or takes a turn you are not expecting, it's just transforming into something different, you need to let that play out is what I'm hearing. I don't need a strong word, it's just what I'm hearing. It'll turn into something better. Some of you might have a thing with like controlling where you're like, no, it needs to be this way. It needs to be a paper crane. It can't be an origami. It can't be an origami swan. It has to be a paper crane. It can't be an origami dog. It has to be a paper crane. But maybe the universe is trying to give you this really sweet like origami lion, but you're like, and then like the paper unfolds to create that and you're like, nope. And you're like trying to squish it back into it. So again, if things take an unexpected turn, things unfold weirdly, it's for your highest good and it's giving you something better. That's something I'd say. So keep that in mind. It's just another message coming through for you guys. So anything else on that? They want to move to what blessings are coming in for you. And they're showing me a tree for starters, interestingly enough here. And they're kind of giving me this message like, the tree doesn't really have to do anything. It kind of just has to be a tree. It has to sit there and let tree things happen, like absorbing sunlight with your leaves. I don't know if absorbing is the right word, but, drawing up nutrients with the roots, letting tree processes happen, if that makes sense. That is a recommendation for you right now as well. Yes, I would be taking action. Yes, I'd be moving the energy, etc. I would also be taking time to be yourself and just be around those time periods of action because one, it's going to lead to a lot of realizations. It's going to lead you to who you are as well. Interestingly enough, is like just taking time for yourself and taking time just to be. And so much of life we get convinced we need to do and do and do and accomplish and achieve. But so much of life is also about being and experiencing and letting things unfold, as we were kind of just talking about. And if you have the combination of both and you're kind of doing both, I feel like you're going to get the best results is something I'm getting out of your experience right now. They didn't like how I said that. So give me 1 second to like get a better message for you. I'm sorry. What would be the highest message for you on that one here? Here's the clarification. You kind of do need to focus on both doing and being, but I feel like if you're more focused on being, the doing comes easier, is kind of what they're saying in a weird way. So I don't feel like you need to, besides taking action on doing what you need to do, you don't need to do a lot. I feel like you need to spend some time just being and letting things unfold or unravel. And I'll feel like you'll be happy you did, like even just over the next week. So I'm sorry if I butchered that message. I hope that made sense and is resonating for you, making sense on what to do about that. And the clarification I hear further is take time to just be and things unfold perfectly. So, and it rhymes. How's it getting any better than that? So next message here, they show me gold. They just said realizing what to do and who you are, realizing the next steps plain as day instead of thinking, okay, so instead of you being in a place where, you know, you're thinking you need to do this and then you need to do that and then you need to do like 12 things at once, you're going to be more focused is something I'm getting as a blessing coming in for you. So a lot more focus on your path. And I know we just talked about being and doing, so I do feel like you're going to be doing as well. So keep that in mind. But I feel like the more focused you are on your dreams and like what does it take to get there, the faster it happens. But when you're pulled around by like 12 different things you want at the same time, it's a little bit slower because you're trying to work on like 5 things at once, but it's like herding cats. So you're going to be focused more on things going in the same direction and feeling more pulled to a certain calling instead of like 12 callings. So that's a blessing coming in for you, is just knowing what's next, which is good. And taking it easy. A lot of you do work hard and like you need to relax. I think that might be part of what that being message was about. And they're kind of saying no, so never mind. But I do feel like that's something that would be good for you as well. I feel like you're going to have time to relax too and like know you can and be okay if you do that. And sometimes we don't relax because we think, whether it's somewhere subconsciously or some type of story we're running, that maybe not subconsciously, they didn't like that I said that, but maybe we think somehow, somewhere that something bad will happen if we relax and like don't do things. But I'm hearing it couldn't be farther from the truth. And yes, of course, like we got to show up for work. We got to show up for certain responsibilities. But beyond that, like, I feel like take a chill pill and you'll be fine is something I'm hearing. The next blessing coming in for you, another blessing coming in, you're going to realize who you are and be very clear on what's for you. That way you can manifest what's for you. So that is part of the B message, because they're showing me that right there. And that's part of why like clarity is so important right now, and like who you are and what you want, and not getting pulled around by others' opinions and things. Because if you're clear on who you are, what's for you, what you want, it's so much easier to manifest it because you're not pulled around by like 20 different conflicting desires. You know, like you want a mansion, you want a cottage in the woods, you want a city life, you want a quiet life on the country, you want a cornfield, you want, you know, you get what I'm saying. So I feel like you're just going to be very clear on like what's next and who you are and what's for you, which is what I've already said. I do feel like you're going to be upshifting automatically. Again, just they're showing me this thing of chop wood, carry water. So if you're moving forward, you're going to be upshifting. Next message, our good friend Elephant showed up, and they're kind of, what's the best way to say this? Another blessing coming in for you is that there just aren't going to be obstacles, or like obstacles disappear in front of your face. They're kind of giving me they want me to reiterate it here. They just want me to say there won't be obstacles for the earth signs here, which is good. I don't know if you guys saw, they just told me to say it, so I'm not going to say it. I'm sorry, guys. But ease of passage regarding work and career, business, etc., feeling unstoppable without a bunch of crap coming against you. So let me clarify that. Sometimes we have these like rites of passage, and it's like you kind of have to go through something before you get something. Not always. I don't like to limit it and like confine things into this box where it's like I don't like to make things more difficult than they have to be. And what if nothing has to be difficult? What's possible there? But I do feel like feeling unstoppable without a bunch of crap coming against you. Okay, sorry. Okay, those like rites of passage are going to be easier, or you're going to feel like there's no passages and you can just like, you know, like what if in Indiana Jones, like he didn't have to deal with a billion like traps and like arrows shooting out at him and boulders rolling out at him, and he could just walk out into a clearing in the forest, grab something and walk back, and there was no booby traps. It's going to be like that, where it's like you don't have to go through all the rigmarole and like, they're showing me like squeezing through, if you ever like lock yourself out of a house and you have to try and like squeeze through the doggy door. I don't know if you have to. That's something I tried to do and then my butt didn't fit. It was funny. But I was like 19 or 20 or something. But it's kind of like, instead of having to go through this rigmarole or this rite of passage to unlock your door metaphorically, it's like you can just walk right in. Or it's like, what door? There's just an open entryway towards what you want. You just walk towards it. So I feel like you're going to have more ease in that way, which is really good, especially regarding like work, business, and career. To clarify the feeling unstoppable without a bunch of crap coming against you, part of the message, I think, what's the best way to say this? Or should I even get into it? I think sometimes we feel unstoppable when we are like cutting away just a bunch of like crap that rears its head. We're like, and then we take care of this, and then we take care of this. Yeah, I'm unstoppable. But I feel like it's unstoppability with ease. It's like you don't have to deal with a bunch of crap to feel unstoppable. You'll just kind of feel unstoppable, which is good. And you are unstoppable is what I'm hearing, at least most of you. So that's good too. It's good to actually be it and not just feel it, is what I'd say. It was what I'm hearing. And anyway, next message here, truth. Again, truth is just a theme for everyone right now. I also was getting like less ego, so feeling more pure, feeling like yourself. Is it being more pure too? Yes, 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 and yes. So I am kind of getting like a weird message, like if you've been coming from ego, you're not going to be coming from ego. Like there might be a little correction coming in, but I feel like it's easy. I feel like you just realize it and it sinks in. Or man, I don't even like talking about ego because I just feel like a weird energy on like the back of my neck and head. And that chakra, there's a medulla oblongata. There's a chakra in certain frameworks called the medulla oblongata chakra that has to do with channeling. And like I've also noticed that can have to do with connection to the soul or to source, maybe even. It's like that, how I feel back there. And whenever like ego comes up and I'm feeling what ego feels like, it just feels like a lot of weird stuff. Not like a lot, but it just feels weird back there. So, but the good news for you guys, I don't know why I'm telling you that. The good news is that there's going to be less ego, or just the right amount, or you're going to be purified in a way where you're coming from the right place. If you've been coerced into coming from ego is what I'm getting, is something I'm hearing, or you feel like that's you. So that's good. So hopefully that all makes sense. Next message here, what would be highest message for me to get to next here? The next section of the reading is like, what would be highest message for the earth signs to hear? What would be highest message for you to hear? So the next message here is to be honest, is like just a message coming through for you in general. There are a lot of important decisions or choices coming up, and you need to be honest with yourself about what you want. Really sit and get clear when a choice presents itself, unless you already know the answer intuitively. Be honest with what you want. It will change things. So for some reason, I'm getting this example, like sometimes, a choice comes up and we think we want something, but we actually don't. It's like a story we've been told that we want it. The example that's coming to me is, and this might not resonate as the perfect example for all of you tuning into this, by the way, but polyamory is an example. Like a lot of people think they want polyamory and then like they get into it and they don't actually want it. Some people are totally good and it works for them, that's great. But a lot of people get into it and they're just like, it's more complex. It's, they got into it for the wrong reasons. They just, want to do a lot of 18 plus stuff. PG-13, 18 plus, please, 18 plus. I was reading about like PG-13 movies and stuff earlier, and that's why that popped out of my mouth, sorry. But I would just be honest with yourself with like what you truly desire, like in your heart and your soul, like what are you really drawn to, like regarding choices that come up. And some of you, like if you channel or you're intuitive, you might just already know, like go with what you know, of course, like you know how to do this. But for others of you, it's a really good time to just sit and get clear on like what do you really honestly want, regardless of what society says, your mom says, your brother thinks, your friend group brags about, etc. Like what do you really want? And that's going to manifest really good things for you, just you taking time to get clear on that is what I'm hearing as well. Because as you realize that, you're going to start to draw those things towards you, like, and you'll be more apt to take the action steps towards it, if that makes sense. So if you get like a choice that comes up and you don't instantly know, or like you aren't instantly guided on like what to do with it, really sit and like, what feels light to you, what do you really want, and go with that. I feel like that'll lead to the best option. Next message here, again, they gave me the word gold twice, I guess, for this reading, but it's a different message this time. They said, you are on the right track. If challenges present themselves, it's just getting you to reconsider what you want so that you will go the right way the universe wants you to go. So, again, I feel like that ties into the last message, essentially. Again, you're on the right track, but if the challenges present themselves, it's just like, do I really want this? What do I really want in my heart? So I don't feel like there are going to be a lot of challenges. I feel like you're going to be challenged on what you want if you don't really want it. What does that mean? So maybe you are trying to manifest a Ferrari, but it's like, you don't really want a Ferrari. You want to look cool to these people, or you want to, I don't know, impress a bunch of women or guys or non-binary people, or you want to look rich so your parents think you're successful and you can feel like you made it and prove them wrong or something. It's like, do you really want this Ferrari? And some of you, the answer will still be yes. Something in your soul wants the Ferrari. That's cool. You want that experience. Nothing wrong with the Ferrari. But for others of you, you might be called towards something better for you. And maybe you still get some of these other things if you want them, if it's really something your soul feels called to, it really feels highest aligned. Not all of it. I don't feel like I'm getting this message out right. I'm sorry, guys. What's the highest way for me to get this message out for you guys here? Sometimes these things are the right things for you and you need to experience them, if that makes sense. Like, there's nothing wrong with, I don't know, wanting a hot husband or wanting a husband who does the dishes. I don't know. I know that's a common complaint, but etc. At the same time, it's like, what are you really going for in these things you want? And some of you, it's very pure already. And I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second to get clearer on this message. What's going on here? How can I get you the best message here? I'm just going to say it as simply as I can. If you are going towards like a mansion or a Ferrari, but you deep down in your heart don't really want a mansion or Ferrari, you want like a cottage in the woods and you want to chop wood and live a peaceful forest life or something, you're going to get challenged in some way on like manifesting this. And what does the challenge mean? Like, you might have a friend be like, do you really want this? Or they might like point out like all that comes along with it that you didn't realize came with it that would actually be kind of a trap for you. Or the universe throws a bunch of challenges your way to like keep it from happening, if that makes sense. And the good news is, if you just take a second to sit with that and listen to that, you're going to be directed to what you want, or the opportunity to experience what you want is like right around the corner from there. And you just kind of need to accept like, maybe this isn't what I want, is the way they're describing it. But it's like, I feel like it's quick. I don't feel like it's like you get challenged on this thing and then you have to wait like 10 years and then like you finally have a cottage in the wood. It's like you get challenged on these things and you're like, never mind, I don't know if I really want that. And then like the next day a friend's like, hey, I have this cottage in the woods for sale or something, is the example they're giving me. And it might not be that exact scenario, but I hope that makes sense. And I think I described that a lot better. So thanks for bearing with me and hanging with me on that hiccup there. Next message here, Ice, they said, you will no longer be frozen. If you feel you've been stuck in place for a while, that is no longer going to be the case. It's going to be a launch forward. That kind of came through in the collective message, like being rocketed forward. I feel like this is especially strong a message for the earth signs and for those of you tuning into this, where they're kind of showing this visual of someone, you know how like people will tie ropes to themselves and like pull a car behind them in like strongman or strongwoman competitions, or you know what I'm saying? And they have like the rope tied around them and they're like running and they're like walking and then like they're like barely moving. I feel like someone's going to come up behind you. One that's like metaphorically perhaps representing you right now. Someone's going to come up behind you and cut the rope. And they're showing these like giant pair of scissors. Like, you know, when people open businesses or like present like a key to the city. I don't think those are the same things. I'm sorry. But like someone like cuts a ribbon and like to open a business with the big scissors, it's almost like that for some reason. And they were giving me the words key to the city. I'm going to get to that in a second. But it's like someone cuts the rope and you just like, woof, and you just like, you have all this like, you know, momentum that you're building in a sense, like putting behind this effort, trying to pull this like truck behind you. But it's like once that rope is cut, it's just like you're to launch essentially. I feel like something like that is about to happen for you, where it's like you won't have to tow 1 billion tons behind you every time you move forward. As far as what that key to the city message was about, because I don't know what that was about here. What's going on with that here? They're just kind of showing this message like you're getting this like key to your destiny soon. So kind of like a side message here. And a lot of you who felt stuck in place, you're getting the key to move forward, like I've been saying. So that's good. Next message here, they just said truth. You are going to be seeing very, very, very clearly if you aren't already. I feel like this, I've just been saying that for everyone so far. This reading, shifting times was the next theme they gave me. They said, allow yourself to be elevated to your highest timeline, because the opportunity for you to do so is going to be greatly enhanced with the shifting landscape and energies humanity finds itself in. I feel like that's for everybody here and not just the earth signs, by the way. But I feel like for some reason it's a particularly strong message for the earth signs, where it's like, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to change things because the landscape and energetics, in a sense, are changing so much with people, with jobs, with the collective. So when change happens, sometimes you get an opportunity to change things in big ways, and it doesn't take as much effort to like elevate your life, change your business, change your career, etc., because everything's in flux, and you can kind of steer everything in the way you want it to go more readily. This is like a prime time to, again, upshift your life, make moves in your life, change things coming up for you. I'm hearing next month, in the next month, and over the years even is something I'm hearing, and it's gonna ebb and flow a little bit. Like you might have some times where things solidify a bit and they're kind of like, things are just how they are for a time, but then they kind of flow a bit more and it's quantum and you can just leap right out of it into something higher. So you're going to have this ebb and flow to it. But if you're taking the opportunity to change things when change presents itself, and they want me to reiterate the recommendation, just ask to be on your highest timeline. I feel like that's for everyone. I was thinking about that when I received that message. Just like, I just feel like a quick tip is just like, just manifest it. Like we were talking about earlier, like I asked to be on my highest and best timeline for me. Thank you so much. May the changes occur with ease and grace to get me there. Thank you. I just watch how things shift, watch how things play out. And I think just setting that intention and letting things show up to get you there, and just following the yellow brick road of the signs and synchronicities and events that play out as a result of you manifesting that, is just a simple way to start to upshift things for yourself as well. Quick tip, but next message here is tornado. They showed me a tornado, and we're kind of in like a similar vein with the message. Actually, no, it's completely different. The message here is you're leaving torture behind. It's time to choose a life that serves you and not one that tears you apart. So sometimes we go through things to have something we want or think we want, but it doesn't really serve us, and it's almost like a form of torture. So they're almost showing me this example, like maybe there's like a treasure chest, like a pirate's treasure chest. I don't know why they're giving me like a weird Pirates of the Caribbean meets something else visual for this, but there's like this treasure chest, and you really want this treasure chest, but there's like this ring of fire around it, or it's like you have to walk through like magma and like lose your feet in order to get this treasure, or you have to get like burned alive to, not to the point you die, but like scarred to like get this treasure. But it's like not worth it is something I'm getting, because it's like you open the chest and it's not what you want. So I'm just getting this message like torturing yourself is not the way. So what does this mean for you? What am I talking about? If you're putting in like, this might be a little bit extreme or exaggerated, but you're putting in like 20-hour days to like get a business off the ground, but maybe I know 15 is still a lot, but maybe you only really need to put in 15, or you're like, they're giving me this example of like, not literally, but figuratively, like cutting off like your arm to be in a relationship. And I'm borrowing an example from the book Being You, Changing the World Is Now the Time by Dr. Dane here. he talks about like sometimes when people get into relationships, they're like someone's like, hey, come into this relationship, I'm hot and attractive and stuff. And so sometimes people go like, oh, like I'd love to get in this, and he used the example of like a car. I'd love to get in this car with you, this relationship. It's like, but oh, you don't fit in the car, it's too small. Like all of you and who you are and what you are doesn't fit. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna chop my legs off so I fit in the car. Like, oh, I still don't fit. I'm gonna chop my arm off so I fit in the car. And then like eventually you get in the car, but it's like at what cost? Like you've kind of cost yourself or like you've kind of divorced from parts of yourself to like fit into this relationship. And one, don't do that is the obvious thing he's trying to say when it comes to that. But two, this example could play out for like a job that looks snazzy, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. Or, you know, like the example that also comes to me is like people who work on Wall Street, but they're miserable, but they have these golden handcuffs is the phrase I remember, if I remember correctly, because it's like they're making all this money, but then they also like bought this really nice house and they have like this lifestyle they need to fund, but they can only keep funding it if they keep their job at Wall Street that they're miserable with. And so then they kind of like chain themselves to all this stuff that looks really good and is lavish, and maybe there's some really good things that come of that for them too, but it's like at the same time it's almost for them it's a trap, and they kind of put themselves in that situation. Again, I'm not anti-money or anti-make a lot of money. I think money can lead to freedom. I think money can lead to a lot of good things. I don't think there's anything wrong with money. I personally like money, but and if some other system replaced capitalism that was better, I'd be okay with that too. I'm not like so attached that it has to be money, but all of this to say, don't torture yourself for anything, honestly, unless it's, you know, it's going to be worth it, is what I'd say. So any other way I could just clarify? No, one second here. Any other way I can clarify that for you guys? Just don't torture yourself for something you think you want. Go for something you actually want, because there's just something better for you is what I'm hearing regarding that stuff. I know there was a message about like moving towards what you think you want, and like your life will upshift if you do that. Actually, that might have been no, that was the sign. Now that I look at it, as long as you're not torturing yourself, that's okay, is what I'm getting on that one. It's just like, if you feel like you're doing something and it's tearing you apart, it's miserable, stop doing it when you can and it's safe for you. Find something else. It's time, is what I'm getting. So I hope that's helpful. I do feel like there is treasure on the way. I do feel like you're headed to a good place, but I just, for some reason, I want to say stop making yourself miserable to whoever needs to hear that. So that's it. Okay, we're done with the earth signs, not done with the live. I think one time I went to say I was done with like a reading, but I made it sound like I was done with the live and like half the people left. This was like a year ago, but I'm just going to take a quick water break and we're going to go to the air signs. By the way, I just want to say I love you guys. It might not be the time for me to jump into I love you guys right now, but I was just feeling it for a second. So I wanted to say I really appreciate you guys. And I appreciate getting to do this. And I just hope you are only and fully for the highest good, receiving whatever is for the highest good for you to receive, and only what's for the highest good for you to receive from this live. For your highest good, for the highest good. So air signs, fully for the highest good, sun, moon, and rising. One second, it's not sticking to the wall. Okay, there we go. So if you have an air sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you whenever you're seeing it. And if you're live with me now, of course, it's for you now. If you're watching on YouTube later, it's for you when you see it. How about a quick guitar break? I don't have my guitar with me. I need to make sure I have that on me more, because I've been wanting to do that more. So, and getting more in the groove with that. So we'll do some guitar lives or something. I have some different ideas for, I'm not going to change these Sunday live. Well, we'll see what I'm guided to do with the Sunday lives. Maybe I'll add things onto it, but I want to do like more lives potentially soon. So on different days, we'll see what happens there. But moving to the reading, so if you have air sign, sun, moon, or rising, the first thing that came through for you, so there was like a quick message that came through before I got into like, how can you upshift things for yourselves and like what blessings are coming in for you. The thing that came through just before I got to that was just, they just gave me the word ballin'. Like, so you guys are going to be feeling a lot more balling, whatever that means for you, a lot more on it, a lot more on your game. You guys are going to be winning. So there's also this message of like turbulence leads to victory. So if you've been feeling turbulence, I feel like you're actually headed towards victory, or you're going through turbulence before you get to victory. So the universe is also going to help you win. So the good news for the air signs is you're heading into a time of winning. This is in stark contrast, I feel, to just like some of the older earth sign messages when I first started doing these lives, which were just kind of a little bit drearier. So I like that for you guys. As far as how can you guys upshift things for you, what are the messages on that? The first thing that came through was patience. They were just said literally just be patient and things will upshift. No rocket science here. There were other messages that came through as well, but they're jokingly saying, that's it, pack it up and go home. I don't think that's really the case. There's more messages for you guys, but I feel like that would shift things for you, and like more than you realize. Like it would shift things etherically, it would shift things around you in your interpersonal relationships, some of you even in job settings. Like I just feel like an ounce more patience is going to lead to a lot more success. So I would try not to rush things as well, as something I'm hearing, like in career specifically, in relationships too, but they're kind of clarifying like, no, not relationships. This is about career. So it's about career. I would just try not to rush things as well. But the next thing I have, is there more on patience here? I would just try to be patient everywhere, and you're going to see a big upshift in your life. Interestingly enough. Next thing was joy. Putting practices, experiences, and daily occurrences in place and in your schedule to feel, allow, express, and find joy, and allow joy to become something you experience frequently will upshift everything for you. And they're saying, they were saying it will change your life. What can you do to feel joy every day? Make a list of what lights you up and do something on that list every day. And it's not about forcing yourself to feel joy at all costs and ignoring your emotions and your mental state that day and be like, must experience joy or the law of attraction will screw me over, because that's not true. I just don't think it's healthy either. But it is about holding space for joy, opening space in your schedule for joy with a scheduled activity or something, or just scheduling it in. I'm borrowing this. I'm not borrowing it because it was a channel message that came through, but it reminds me of something I've heard from Lee Harris, who's a channeler, about like a joy muscle, where it's like you're building your capability to feel, express, and be joy, I guess you could say, even through like showing up every day and like consciously cultivating joy in your life. And I know we're often taught like things like joy are something that happened to us, and we're supposed to just walk through our world and have life hand us whatever feeling we're supposed to feel, or that we're programmed to feel in response to whatever stimuli, and we're at the whim. But it's just not always how it has to be, I guess you could say. It makes sense that we're programmed that way, and that's the way we're taught to be. And it makes sense to have natural responses and emotional reactions to things that happen. And I'm not saying to become a robot, or again, a law of attraction robot that must be happy at all times. It's really more about how can you bring more joy into your world, and what will it take to do that? And this is a way you can start doing that. So the other thing that I was going to say something, they want me to skip it. So hopefully that makes sense. So I would just, again, make a list of what lights you up, do something on that list every day, whether it's, it could be a Frappuccino from Starbucks. It could be going for a walk in the park. It could be taking 5 minutes to play with your dog because that makes you happy. It can be simple. It can be complex. Do your thing. Next thing that came through for you and what can you do to upshift your life? There was a weird message, like, they gave me the phrase, the afternoon of life. And hear me out on this one. What they kind of meant was like, they reminded me of like, especially when I was in like school, or when I was working like more 9-to-5 type jobs and had that like schedule. Like after lunch, I would always just be so like that, that like afternoon, just like, or just like you want to take a nap, you don't want to focus, you don't want to do anything, you just ate the best sandwich of your life or whatever. And they were kind of like using that, but it was like about maybe some of your life right now, if not all of it. And the message was like, sometimes when you get groggy, you might want to take a nap, but the universe wants you to push through and do something productive that you want to do instead during your days when you feel groggy. This will help you shift things. And I think it's going to take a little bit of discernment on this message. I think sometimes it makes sense to rest when you need to rest. It makes sense to take care of yourself when you're sick or something like that. But if you've been feeling like groggy every day, or just like and sometimes it's okay to have those periods, there's nothing wrong with it. If you don't want to do anything for a month, like it's fine to do that. But right now there's just this advice to like push through grogginess on like off days, on days you don't want to do anything. I feel like 9 times out of 10, like you're going to push through for 5 minutes and then feel productive and want to do things. Okay, they want me to clarify that. A lot of the times you're going to feel it's easier to like keep going once you start is I guess a better way you could phrase it. Or if you push through it, like you'll get rewards for pushing through it. And again, I'm not trying to tell you to torture yourself. It's more just like, if you feel like you're going through the afternoon of life with that grogginess, push through it. Interesting message, but I hope it makes sense. So that was kind of it on like just some of the brief recommendations on what you can do to upshift things for yourself. There is more. They're showing me channeling. Like I would try to get in tune with intuition, with channeling, getting connected, whatever ways work for you, or just do something high vibrational every day. Something I'm getting, whether that's meditating or it's energy, whatever your thing is. I feel like that would be really helpful for you. They're also showing me this concept of flow. And then they're giving me this message, like getting the energies flowing in you is going to get the energies flowing in life as well. So one thing you could do is just make sure you're doing something every day to make sure energies are flowing in you. I'm going to give an example of what that could look like. Like if you do energy work like Reiki, that could be like, okay, let's turn Reiki on and just have Reiki flow through me. I'm just going to do a self session, or maybe I'm just going to let Reiki flow through me while I meditate and just get that energy going. I mean, it could be channeling, like you have this flow of information. Could be Qigong, and you're literally flowing with your body and working with your Qi that way. And I'm so sorry if I'm butchering the understanding of Qigong to anyone who knows that field better. There's more experience with that field this lifetime. So anything else that would help you guys out here? They want me to leave it there and we'll see what else comes through. As far as what blessings are coming in for you guys, for the air signs. So let me see what's going on here. One, feeling more yourself and feeling less disheveled is something I was getting. That kind of seems to come through for a number of the different signs here. But I do feel like you're going to be feeling more yourself and more with it and more on your game, kind of like what came forward earlier, because there was that message about, the ballin' message, I guess you could say, which is not a word I say much, honestly. But feeling less disheveled, which is good. I feel like things are going to just feel a little bit smoother for you guys as well. They're just like less rough. I know I was talking about ease for some of the other signs, but I'm getting a bit of that for you as well, especially if you had that other element and got that message. I know truth has just been a theme for like every sign, but that is coming for you guys as well. And just like, again, like the other thing coming through for you that's a blessing is knowing everything you need to know, which will really change things for you. Like there's going to be less like variables and more certainty. Like for example, like you might be like trying to buy a car and you're like, oh, like, I don't know if I should get this SUV or if I should get this Mercedes or if I should get this beater in case I lose my job. Like what's going to happen? Like, am I going to need the extra space? It's just going to cost all the gas money. But it's like, if you have all that you need to know, you'll be like, no, we're getting this car because of X, Y, Z, and it's going to be perfect. So I feel like you're going to be having like that, but it's like everywhere. And there might still be a few things you're confused on. Like you might still be like, what's the meaning of life? That's okay. You're just going to you're going to know what you need to know. Again, you're going to know what you need to know. Like it's okay if like you're confused about why forks and spoons exist when we could have sporks all the time. It's fine. But it's just going to be easier for you because of that. What other blessings are coming in for you that you need to know about? That would be that's good for you to know about right now here. They are giving me the word abundance as well. I think sometimes people tell stories about abundance being difficult. I don't feel like it's going to be difficult for you. I think like you're going to be seeing like the path to abundance more easily, or you're going to be seeing how you can have more ease with abundance. And again, sometimes we are handed the story that needs to be difficult, things need to be difficult, jobs need to be difficult. What's that? It's not necessarily true. I think people are opening to other possibilities. Like life can be easier. I mean, if you're already going through something, like that's okay. Like deal with it, whatever's coming up. Like you don't have to resist that. But I just feel like you're going to be seeing how things can be easy for you, which is good. And you're just getting a little bit more ease regarding abundance specifically. Whereas like before, like you thought you had to work 5 jobs and mow lawns on weekends, and then like you still didn't have enough. It'll be like, oh, I can just do this one job that pays well, or oh, I can just do this thing over here and it really helps. I don't know, something like that. Or maybe you thought relationships were difficult, but you're getting ease with relationships, if that's a form of abundance for you. So that's good too. I feel like you're also getting blessed with relationships, or like some type of enhancement to your relationships, or maybe even a blessing where like you realize where you've messed up in the past and you start treating people better, and then your whole life improves, if that makes sense. Not calling you a bad person or anything. That might just be for like a couple of you, but that's something coming through as well. Just some type of enhancement like that. So any other blessings coming in for the air signs, sun, moon, or rising right now? I do get you're coming into a sun period, which is like happiness, joy, good things. There might be some eclipses. We are literally coming towards eclipses right now, eclipse season, but there might be some eclipses that like make you think the sun will never come, or it's like you have some metaphorical cloudy days. But I feel like 1, you're going to be getting reminders that the sun is coming consistently. 2, it actually is going to be coming. And it's in the next 3 months is something I'm getting for you guys. Like within the next 3 months. It could be part of the next 3 months, or it's going to be like, it's going to come in out. Let me see if they'll give me a specific time. It's different for each of you, which is why I'm not getting like, it's going to happen on November 17th at 8:79 p.m. o'clock, which I know isn't a real time, but it is going to happen. But sometime in the next 3 months, or in 3 months, or something like that. Something like that's going to happen. So the next section, there's one more thing they want me to get to as far as a blessing. I can't say the word they showed me, I think, on TikTok, but it is like 18 plus. So things that have to do with passion, things that have to do with fun with that. Some of you are getting an improvement to that area of your life, or some manifestation you've been hoping for there. Others of you are going to be getting like a passion project that comes to life. That doesn't have to be 18 plus, that second part, but that's just something I'm getting as well. So as far as like what message you need to hear, what would be for the highest good to come through for you right now is, weirdly enough, they gave me the word maturity. They just said you guys are going to be maturing. So life is growing you guys slowly and sustainably. If things have been rough, they're going to settle. However, life is still going to be maturing you. So sometimes we go through things to mature us that are just like brutal, you know? Again, I don't know if it always has to be the case. Some of us sign up for different things, you could say. I feel like things are going to settle down where you're just maturing in like a just sustainable way, if that makes sense. Why is this message important for you? I just feel like it's good to be aware that what I'm getting is it's good to be aware life is doing things to mature you, so you don't like freak out about certain things. But again, I feel like it's going to be like just in a sustainable, good pace that's not too much. So slower is what I'd say on that one. Especially if it's been like fast and like rough for you and you felt like you had to grow up overnight or something. I feel like that's leaving. Next message, they gave me the word rotten. They said things that have become rotten in your life are leaving. So the things you thought were good that weren't good. Sometimes, you know, we have things in life that we think are a blessing, but it's actually like stale bread. Like they showed like the blessing of like bread, but then you go to eat it and it's stale. And then, you know, when you go to eat it, it hurts or something. So things that no longer serve their purpose are going to be leaving as well. I feel like you're getting a refresh. They're showing like the refresh button on like clicking it on a website. And it's like your life is getting refreshed. And it's like they're showing me something like living in the 1800s and you hit the refresh button and it's like modern day because like the web page hasn't been refreshed in a while. So if you feel like your life has been like old or like stale or needs a refresh, that's coming in soon as something I'm getting as well, which is really weird. Because like they're giving me the word outdated information. It's like if you had a website and you were trying to keep up to date on information, but it's like you had to hit the refresh button to see the updated information, and like you forgot to hit the refresh button, you might get frustrated like waiting for that new information, or you might be like operating on 1800s information and like a meta in like a field instead of like to 2022 information. And so you're just like, why, you know, and I'm not a doctor as a disclaimer, of course, I'm not a licensed physician, but the example is like, you know, you might be like, why is the patient dying when I cut them open to bleed out the evil spirits? But it's like you refresh the 2022 information and it's like, oh, they need penicillin. You know, it's so if you feel like you've been operating on outdated information, or you feel like you've been operating in the past or something, this doesn't make much sense to me, but hopefully it makes sense to you. You're getting a refresh where it's like you get updated information on something, you're able to operate in a better way, or your life updates so that you feel like you're modern day. What's the best way for me to summarize this for you? Because I don't feel like I'm like totally getting the message out right to summarize it. If you've been operated on any type of outdated information, is going to be updated. That's what I'm getting. Next message, and I know that was kind of that could play out in a number of different ways for each of you, but that's what I'm getting there. Next message here, destruction. They said if things are destroyed, it's just leading you to a better path. So I mean, you're almost hearing like pay no heed. You might want to pay heed to it. Like you're probably going to not be able to avoid paying heed to it. But if something in your life just gets destroyed, I think it's meant to. It's kind of like burning furniture that was like old and rotting, and you're just like, oh, but I love that dresser. But it's like, yeah, but there's like a cockroach infestation and a leg is missing, and it's, you know, every time you put something on it, it like falls off because it's tilted. I don't know. I feel like you're getting an update in some way. Next message here, the road is clearing. This is like a really interesting message because they showed the road clearing, and then they showed like, be patient with me, this isn't a religious message, but they showed like Jesus show up, and like I got the word salvation. I'm like, what is this? But they just said salvation is coming, but it's more like you're getting a saving grace or a perfectly timed rescue in your life. It's not religious. It almost reminds me of, there's no trickster energy involved with any of this or anything really. But it reminds me of Thor Ragnarok, when, if you guys have seen that movie, where Loki shows up with the spaceship to like save, I can't remember the name of it. I don't know, they're people, and he's like, your savior is here. It's not as dramatic, and it's not Loki, and it's not like a weird trickster energy with this or anything else. But what it is like, maybe the universe throws you a lifeline, like you think you're about to be in the pit with money, and then your mom sends you money, or you think you're about to get fired, and then your manager's like, no, we're giving you a promotion, or we're shifting you to this other department, and then you don't have it on your record anymore, or something like that. So it's maybe not going to be exactly that, but in some way, shape, or form, some lifeline the universe is sending your way. But it does tie in with like the road is clearing message. So some of you might have thought, another message I'm getting is some of you might have thought you were going to be stuck in a period of time for a long ways, but you're not. It's like the road's actually going to open, which is good. So next message I have here, they just said the road is being paved for you. On a different note, you might think you are delayed, but you have a perfect road being paved for you. The universe does not cut corners. So I feel like some of you are waiting for something, or you're like waiting for a dream to manifest, or like forward momentum. I do feel like it's coming. And again, like there's like the message, I feel like I get this from time to time from people, but the message, like the road is being paved and created, but the universe isn't going to cut corners to make it happen faster, and there is a divine timing at play. So you'll be moving forward at the right time is what I'd say. I would be patient. Next message here, they showed me an oyster. It was about getting pearls. They said if you have been waiting a long time, your rewards will be great. So if you've been waiting for something to happen. And again, I wouldn't like just sit around and keep waiting. I would be taking action on things. But they said pearls do not form overnight, but when you get them, they are worth it. So not everything valuable happens overnight. Some things that are worthwhile and are worth a lot take time. I feel like if you're trying to manifest something and it hasn't been happening quickly or overnight, one, the road is being paved. Two, you are going to be getting rewarded for having to wait for things to manifest, or for being patient, I suppose you could say, is something I'm getting, interestingly enough. But that's it for the air signs. I hope that made sense and resonated, and I feel like I'm rambling a bit, but hopefully I'm not rambling as badly as I think I am. Hopefully it's still good for you guys. Okay. We are going to jump to the... Okay, so I need to go to the bathroom. I don't know what's going on with these lives recently where I've been having to use the restroom partway through, but I really need to use the restroom. Not rambling at all. Thanks, Andy Pandy Pie. I appreciate it. So I'm going to take just a quick 2-minute bathroom break and grab a charger for my computer over here before it dies, which I guess I could just channel the messages for you anyways, but it's a good reference when I'm doing these. So give me 2 minutes to use the restroom and I'll be right back. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, how's it get better than this? Okay, thank you guys. Hi. Okay. Hey, Lexi. Thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna plug this computer guy in. All right. So, quick coffee break. Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing great. Hope you had a good 2 minutes. We're going to go to the water signs, sun, moon, and rising. So give me 1 second. Okay. So if you have a water sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you when you see it. If you're watching on YouTube, it's for you now. If you're live, of course. And I'm going to go through the channel messages I have here, and my spirit guides, the angels, and source will bring through any additional information that's for your highest good as I go through them. So for the water signs, there's 3 kind of themes for the reading. 1 is what will it take for you to upshift your life? 2 is what blessings are coming in. 3, what else do you need to hear? So the message that came through for you on how can you upshift things for yourself and your life? It was similar to the air signs. The first message is a little bit similar. We'll see what actually happens. But 1, patience. So don't expect everything to work out perfectly overnight with every single thing in your life. And they kind of gave this analogy of carving a statue. When carving a statue, I haven't really carved a statue, but it can take, patience and precision. Like you don't want to go necessarily like hacking away at it with a chainsaw, or they kept showing me the example in marble, so I don't know if chainsaw works, but then you definitely don't want to go hacking away at it with a chainsaw. But it takes patience and precision. You don't want to go hacking away expecting it to be perfect. So keep like chipping away at things, keep making adjustments, keep making moves, and you will get there. But don't try to carve the statue in one go. Keep coming at it in the right times and in the right ways. Things will upshift for you. So the analogy for you is like patience as if you were carving a statue, as if I were to try and simplify the message. What's the highest and best way for me to summarize it for you here? Hopefully if that's good here. If you're trying to build a business or a relationship, you might be tempted to make everything perfect right now. And that's a good ambition, and I would applaud you for that and say that's actually good. At the same time, like, you can't rush through everything necessarily. Sometimes you can, I don't want to limit you, but usually you can't just rush through everything and expect it to just turn out perfectly because you did like an overnighter, like rushing to get this thing done and that thing done and that thing done. Like, it can be worth it to take your time a little bit with things and like make sure your moves are precise. Make sure you're carving the statue with the right tools at the right times and the right ways, and not just hacking away, because even if you're really excited about something, which makes sense, but not just hacking away because you're really excited and then you have to order a new block of marble for your statue, a David statue or whatever that you're trying to carve. And that's the one that kept like showing up in my intuitive visuals was I think it's called the Statue of David. Is that right? With the one famous artist person. I'm so sorry. I can't remember if it was Da Vinci or DiCaprio who made the statues and the sculptures. I'm a little bit not remembering my artist right now. So, but I know one of them made what I think is called the Statue of David with the little leaf over his private parts. No, he's completely nude in that statue. What am I thinking of? Never mind. Let's come back to the reading. And let's have me take 1 second to take a deep breath. You know the message. Just be patient with things you're building and don't try to rush it. Keep coming at things at the right times and in the right ways, things will upshift. The next message was going big and not holding back. So how can you upshift things? Like really go big for what you are dreaming of, for your businesses, and try to do things in big ways and like truly go for your dreams at the level you want to. A piece of advice is coming into my brain. I don't know if it's the perfect advice, but I think it's a good thing to consider. A friend of mine he used to be a friend of mine. I haven't really talked to him in a while. But one thing he posted one time that made a lot of sense is like, sometimes when people want to, for instance, start a podcast or write an album with music, for example, they'll kind of say like, oh, like I'll just do this like cheap budget thing. And, if people like it, then maybe I'll do something better, or I don't know if part of it might be an unworthiness thing. Part of it, I know sometimes people have a budget, but one thing he said is like, wouldn't you want to give your art the biggest potential for it to like thrive and make it big and resonate with people by doing things in the biggest and best way possible you can for them? So for instance, getting the best quality like sound recording you can for an album, possible with what you have available to you. Instead of just doing instead of doing like a Microsoft Paint logo for your for your business, like why don't you take a few minutes to research Fiverr or Canva, get something professional done so it looks good and people will actually be drawn to it? Or if you're doing YouTube videos, why don't you invest in just a little bit of a better camera and like, if you can afford it, and like make the videos as high quality as you can so people can watch it. And I'll give an example because I think this is really, really interesting. There's one reader that I don't watch as many readings recently as I used to, because I kind of replaced my like entertainment, like shows and like movies more with like readings on YouTube and like channeled messages from like, I only listen to like a few channelers really, but and like things like that for a while. So I haven't really been doing that as much anyways, but one thing that stuck out to me that I thought was really interesting was there's this one reader I watched, and he has probably like almost 700,000 followers on YouTube now, or whatever, subscribers. And he talked about this thing that happened to him. And if anyone's curious, it's Chris Reck, it's Minopan Tyro. And he talked about this thing that happened to him where it was like he was stuck at like 50,000 subscribers for like years or something with like his tarot videos he did. And then like he took these like plunges where he like started to improve the videos. He bought better cameras, he bought better stuff, and like tried to improve it every time, and eventually like it got going, like when he started putting that effort in. And one thing I noticed is like I saw one of his older videos one time, and it was kind of lower quality. Like the camera was fuzzier, the sound quality wasn't as good. And even though I'd watched a lot of his readings and gotten good things from them and thought he was good, I didn't want to watch it. Like it just took away from, it almost seemed to take away from the credibility, even if the credibility was totally there on his end, other than the camera quality, if that makes sense. It's the best way I could say it. I don't think that's the perfect way for me to phrase it with that word credibility, but it just, hopefully you know what I'm saying. It's like him having that higher budget version of what he was doing was kind of what made it. Not that because he had everything else good. He was good besides that. He just needed something that people felt was more quality and were more drawn to because of that. So I know I went in a big tangent there, but the message, like going big and not holding back and like truly going for your dreams at the level you want to go for them on, I feel like that kind of applies where it's like, if you want to be a massive YouTuber, maybe it makes sense to, maybe you can't afford like the $10,000 camera and in 28 million K high definition for movies or whatever, but maybe you can afford an iPhone 13 or 14 Pro that has a really good back camera, and you can afford a good microphone, and that's like $50, and you can count that as your investment towards it. And so you're closer to that quality that will, or you're at that quality that will allow your art to thrive, instead of stifling it with like crappy Microsoft Paint art as your logo, and using your potato to film your YouTube video, if that makes sense, and like just giving it a chance, So I think you get what I'm saying. But what else would be highest and best? What else would help you upshift your life right now here? They want me to highlight the not holding back portion. I do feel like it's a really good time for you guys to just like, I almost want to use the phrase like full send it, like really like pedal to the metal, maybe not pedal to the metal, but go for it, I guess you could say, would be a better way to say it, and not hold back on like anything you want. Because one thing I'm hearing is like, you'll never know if you don't try. And I think you can know. Of course, you can get channel messages, etc. I don't like the phrase, I say it sometimes, but I don't like the phrase, I don't know. I don't like the phrase, you'll never know either, because it's like, I don't like anything that could potentially even restrict the possibility of knowing, if that makes sense, or getting the accurate information as someone who channels and does intuitive work. That being said, sometimes you won't really realize what's going to work for you if you don't try it. And if you're not really giving it your all, how are you going to know if you were or weren't going to make it without doing that? Does that make sense? So just keep that in mind. It's a really good time to kind of full send what you're going for in life. Anything else that would help you upshift your life right now? Nope, that's it. They're giving me the phrase again from Deadpool, maximum effort. So I'd be putting the work in. And if you're someone who has other signs and you're kind of wondering how that works with the message, like if you had an earth sign and you were also getting like just be, do both. Like when it's time to take action, maximum effort. When it's time to just be, maximum effort at being. No, I'm just kidding. Then, just take time to just be. So just blend it in a way that works for you. What blessings are coming in for the water sign, sun, moon, and rising? Again, truth came through for everyone. Truth, knowing who you are, seems to be a common blessing coming in for people right now, but you're going to be knowing who you are and having clarity on that and what's for you. Being able to walk away from things that have truly not served you. So people, jobs, etc., and finally being done with them instead of taking those people back. So, sometimes you like walk away from an ex, for example, but you're still kind of, that meme where there's like there's the there's like the dude and he's like with a girl, but then like another girl is walking past, and it's like a stock photo of the dude doing like, and he's like super into this like girl that walked past, but then the girl next to him is like, what are you doing? It's almost like not literally that, but it's kind of like that, where it's like maybe you walked away from someone like an ex, but you're still like looking back, you're just like, oh, what if, and da 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 da. One message is it's going to be easier to fully walk away from certain things or people. Another is if there's anything now you've needed to walk away from, but you've been hesitant, or like let's say there's a job and it's your only source of income and you know what to expect and you hesitate to get a different job because what if the manager doesn't like you, etc. And at least Bob is chill even though everything else sucks. It's like, no, if it's not serving your highest good, like you're going to be able to walk away, like you're going to walk away, and you're going to have something new like right away that replaces it that's at least 10 times better. They said 10 times better. So at least 10 times better is what I'd say. Or just better. You know what's coming through. Anything else on that? So the strength to walk away is what's coming through, and like actually do it and know it's the right choice and not look back. For the most part is kind of what's coming through. No, totally not look back. Okay, never mind. Not even just for the most part. So that's a good blessing coming in. And it might not sound like a blessing, but it really is, because, some people never move on. They're still thinking about their high school crush 30 years later, asking what if, but life has moved on. So don't be that person is what I'd say. Next message here. Anything else as far as blessings coming through for you guys? Okay, feeling on top of the world and even like being on top. I feel like you guys are getting to some type of position where you're on top even in the next month, but sooner rather than later is what I'm getting, which is good. I just feel like you're going to be kind of like the air signs. I feel like you're going to be feeling more with it as well, and less like hazy if you've been feeling hazy. So again, clarity, a blessing coming in, which is good. I maybe just collectively, some of these words that have been coming through just apply for the blessings for everyone. Like I think I've said truth and clarity for like everybody. And I think I've said feeling clear on who you are for almost every one of the elements. So that might just be something that's important right now as far as what's coming in for people. Knowing your purpose was coming through again, like what I was just talking about. I feel like you're going to be knowing your purpose and being very clear on it is another blessing coming through. I also am getting like the universe, what I have here, the universe blessing you big time in many areas. It is a time of blessings for the water signs. So I feel like you're heading into a period of blessings. And sometimes metaphorically, it's like you're walking through the desert or like the vast ocean. And why is this a metaphor that's coming through? Like if you were on your old ship, ye olden days, on the ships in the seas, and like you would have to kind of take your supplies with you, like the water or the whatever they did to, I think they had alcohol in the water so it didn't go bad, and like the food and stuff. And you kind of just like have what you have. But it's like once you hit landfall, especially if you landfall in like an abundant place, like there's riches, you can trade, you could find work if you needed work, you could gather resources if that makes sense. So I feel like in some ways you're hitting like a landfall where you get more blessings in every area of your life, especially if I don't feel like being in the desert is like the perfect analogy. It's like, it kind of is, because maybe there's been some stagnancy or you haven't been getting as much, or it's like you have what you have and you're okay, but it's like you're still in like this desert. It's like there's nothing, not as much as you'd like. So you're kind of heading into this abundant land where more of what you need is available and more readily available. I also feel like people are going to be kinder to you is something I'm hearing randomly, which will be good. Especially if people have been mean, I feel like, or there's been like a mean streak or something, there's gonna be more kindness thrown your way, which is good. They're also showing me candy, interestingly enough, but it reminds me of like it's this item from when I was a kid from Pokemon called a rare candy. The rare candy in Pokemon would automatically level up one of your Pokemon in the game, for anyone unfamiliar. Why is this showing up for you in this reading? I feel like you're also getting an automatic level up of some sort, but I feel like it's big. I don't feel like it's like why that's a big deal in Pokemon is otherwise to level up you'd have to go into Pokemon battles and go through all this rigmarole to gain experience points by defeating other Pokemon, and then you level up after like a bunch of different things. So it saved a lot of time. Okay, but aside from that, why is this important for you? What is the relevance for you? Why is this coming through? It's like at this key moments or key points soon, you're getting this level up, and I feel like it changes everything. And I feel like it's just enough to tip the scales in your favor and like really change something in your life. And one, make you feel more at ease and like feel like your blessings are coming. And they are, is something I'm getting to. So I feel like you're getting some type of key level up in some area, but it's easy, or it just like comes in. It's like you don't have to strive for it as much. So that's really good. And, you know, they're giving me this example, like, you know, maybe some of you think it's going to take like 10 years to accomplish something or build a business, but maybe it just takes a month. Like maybe it'll happen a lot faster. And I don't know if it's wise for me to promise that exact scenario for all of you, but that's an example coming in for like what's possible, I guess you could say. And some of you need to hear that. So you don't stop going for your dreams is what I'm hearing. So I would keep going for your dreams. And I'm not trying to breadcrumb you with that message either. It's just the message that's coming through. I do think it's actually possible. I feel like some of you will be seeing that. Okay, so that's any other blessings for the water signs. So we're going to move on to like what else would be for the highest good for the water signs to hear. I feel like that's a lot of blessings, which is good. But I would be patient as they come in is something I'm getting. Some of you might be expecting this tomorrow. I feel like it's like over the next month or two is what I'm saying. So what else would be for the highest good for the water signs to hear? One, big upshift imminent. You don't have to do anything. The universe is going to upshift things for you, kind of like the rare candy we just talked about. Next one, healing is on the way. If you felt stuck, you're going to get a big healing to get you unstuck. So I feel like a lot of you are in a healing phase. I feel like it's going to go a little bit deeper and be a little bit stronger. It's not a bad thing. I feel like it's going to be gentle, at least gentle enough that it's not like ruining your life while you're doing it. I also get it's going to be quick, which is good, but you're going to get, if you feel stuck, you're going to get some type of healing that gets you unstuck, which is good, especially regarding the hearts and even like the brain is something they're showing me, like the minds, or maybe even something psychological. Again, I'm not a licensed physician. Don't take this as medical advice, but that's just what I'm hearing. Next message here, truth rising, more truth coming in for everybody. It will set you free, things people say to you, things you see, etc. So truth again is just, I think it's just a theme of maybe I should just have like truth on the wall behind me and just like truth is coming. And then like, I won't have to say it every reading for every sign and every person, but that's just kind of what I'm getting for you as well. But it's also like truth that sets you free. And like, I'm also getting a message like keeps you from being stuck in your own game. What do I mean by that? Sometimes we play games with ourselves where it's just like, oh, if this person doesn't like me, it means I'm fat and ugly and no one will. Or it's like these little games we play in our heads with ourselves that don't really resonate with truth. I feel like you're gonna be seeing through a lot of BS from like things you were handed as a kid is another message I'm getting, like about yourself or about life, but also like ways you are maybe even playing games with yourself, but it's like holding you back or it's just causing your quality of life to suffer. I feel like you're gonna be seeing through that too, which is good. Some good shifts there. Next message here, dream life. They said your dream life is possible. Make moves that get you closer and it will appear. It is as simple as taking the steps in front of you. You are on the right track. So a lot of encouragement for you guys to follow your dreams for the water signs, to like take the steps towards it, and like these things will appear. They're using all these like examples and like visuals from Pokemon. I don't know what's up. There was this in one of the games when I was a kid, I think I was 10, and this was one of my favorite sets of games from them when I was a kid. There was this thing called Mirage Island, and this was like this really rare event in the game where it's like it was just this random generated thing that it would just be really rare to find. It was called Mirage Island, and you'd have to talk to the specific character in the game in the specific town, and like on like different days. And like there would be some days where like if this certain number sequence matched up correctly in the game, it'd be like this island would appear that normally wasn't there, and you'd be able to go to this island and get whatever was there, you know, essentially. Like you might feel like your dreams are far off in a mirage, but it's not exactly the same as this Pokemon analogy I just used. It's more just like if you take the steps towards it, it's like the mirage appears, if that makes sense. Like it starts to actualize. And like they're showing me this weird thing, like maybe it just seems like vapors in your mind. You just like your dream life, what you dream of, it seems far-fetched. It seems like it can't exist, but it's like as you're taking the steps towards it, it's like Mirage Island appears. The thing that I am going to just clarify as well for anyone familiar, in the actual game, Mirage Island, even though it was this really rare event, it really didn't have all that much that was like super special about it. I feel like this is different. I feel like you're going to be getting a lot more out of your Mirage Island, your dream, but it's not like a mirage where it's fake. It's real. You just got to move towards it. Next thing they're showing me is a golden retriever, interestingly enough. So what's up with this golden retriever here? I think this came through for the air signs as well, but I would just be trying to be joyful. I'd be trying to bring, what's the best way to say this? Because they're talking about like golden retriever energy. I know that's like a TikTok thing, right? Where people are like golden retriever girlfriend or boyfriends, or where it's just people that remind you of golden retrievers, I guess. I feel like you're going to be having like people that are that golden retriever energy around you more, or you're going to be embodying that energy more, but I feel like it's going to serve you well if you do, or it's kind of like happy-go-lucky and just like just more joyful all the time. That energy might be healthy for you in some way or good for you in some way. So I'd try to either get around that, or if it makes sense to embody it more. I'm not trying to tell you to be someone besides who you feel called to be, but embody it more, or that might just naturally come in. I feel like it's going to help you for some reason. That's just what I'm getting. Okay, that's it. I'm going to close the reading there. Holy heck. Hopefully that made sense and resonated and was good for you guys. We're going to do the full channel mode channel of Coas in just a second here. I'm going to take like 1 second because I'm feeling it. Just the energies or something. It just feels strong. The channeled message theme I'm getting is, I'm hearing like healing crisis, and upshift. So we'll see what happens. I know they talked about like a timeline jump last time. That's happening is something I'm getting. I don't know if it's happening right now, but I'm just hearing it's happening. Or it will happen if it hasn't happened for you yet as well. But one thing I'm getting to recommend for you guys is if you're tuning in, I'm about to do direct channeling. So my spirit guides, the angels and source, fully for the highest good, only for the highest good, are gonna speak through me and deliver a message or messages. For some reason, I'm hearing it's important to ground right now. So just take a second to fully for the highest good, ask the earth to send up the highest and best pure grounding energies for you and bring you to optimally grounded. Ooh. Or you can just visualize roots or just flowing out of your feet down into the earth in some way, and just let it go down into the earth and just bring up energies from the earth to ground you. Or you can, if you're like up on a 10-story building or something in the top floor, you can just visualize yourself standing in nature, barefoot on the ground somewhere, and that should work too, because you're just putting yourself on the earth. And just take just a minute to do that. And if you want to get into a meditative state, you can. And I'm not sure if this is going to be a guided meditation, but they're almost wanting me to jump into this, like just take a deep breath and just kind of be with yourself. You can close your eyes if you want. It's not going to be a channel guided meditation, but if you want to be in a meditative state while I'm channeling, that's cool too. And I'm just getting this recommendation. If you feel it resonates for you, it feels good, just to invite, fully feels good, from true highest and best infinite source, from the angels, from your spirit guides, just to invite in healing, gentle healing, an energy of healing, and just breathe that in. While we're inviting energies, go ahead and invite abundance for yourself. And since we're doing this quasi-meditation style, you can visualize yourself, if you're done grounding, walking on a path that's either green or gold or both, that symbolizes abundance to you. and just visualize yourself walking forward on this path. And if you're following along with this impromptu guided meditation, or whatever this is, you might come across a bridge, where you can see a bridge in front of you, and just see yourself. The road will still be green or gold, whatever form the bridge takes, it's perfectly good. That might give you additional information, but cross that bridge. And what you're doing is you are setting the intention that the timeline jump we talked about earlier and last week happens with ease, and you are bringing healing and abundance your way, and you're opening doors fully, if that's good, only doors that are, if that's good, to open to your healing and abundance. So just visualize yourself crossing that bridge and getting to the other side. And if you have to force the visual to have you be on the other side, see yourself on the other side now. And then we're gonna just visualize a door in front of you. And you're gonna walk through that door. You'll be back in your body, in the room, and then the channel will begin shortly after. So fully, if that's good, just you get to the other side of the bridge, you see a doorway, you walk through the door, and you're back in the here and now. And I'm going to put this channel sign up on the wall.